Welcome, everybody. Hi, it's me, Pugs Moran. Welcome to the High Noon Report, your 2 hour mental and verbal gymnastics meet. That's right. For the next 2 hours, I will attempt to do something here on the High Noon Report, something that I do quite easily 5 days a week, every day at noon here. Stream of consciousness. That's right. Here's how the show works. Now, first of all, people in the chat room, come on, gather in. Hey, Byron. Byron's first guy in the chat room today. Good for him. More people will come. This is most people aren't used to me starting right at high noon. Typically, it's a few minutes after. And I guess today it started at 12:01. But what? It's 12:02 now. Been on a good minute. So chat room will fill in as we move forward. Cameron's here. Taranda's here. Al's here. I'll shout them out as they come in. Grab your futons, your yoga mats, your bean bags, whatever it is. Form our little chat room soul circle of life. Join hands, and let's see if we can't learn a little something about this day, because that's what the High Noon Report is about. I wake up early in the morning. I start looking at all the newspapers. I compile a list of all the biggest news stories, the weird things, the interesting things. Here's what I don't do. I don't look for MAGA propaganda or leftist nonsense. I don't look at any of that stuff. That's not what this show's about. This show's about being non-divisive. Yet, at the same time, incredibly divisive, but good divisive. Like for instance, here's an example of the way we do these shows. This is the first of two shows. We also do a show at night, a show that we call the Radio Misfits. It's myself, James Parker, and E, the artist. We do that show every Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. But here, this is what I mean. This kind of stuff we got into last night. If you're not listening to... I just saw that this caption was still here. It was still loaded on deck. If you're not familiar with the Radio Misfits show, we had a conversation last night about whether or not Emil is white. Now, Emil is a 100% Sicilian Italian guy. So, that's the kind of nonsense that we do. We were very divisive over that. James, who initially posed the question, had a really brilliant sort of addendum to it. He said, okay, not necessarily do you think Emil is white? Here's the question. Would your grandfather have thought Emil was white? Which I thought was a really nice twist on it. All right, so for 2 hours, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to go through that list I told you about that I made this morning, and we're going to give you all the day's news, the hot topics, the headlines, the current events, whatever it is that's happening, whatever people are buzzing about. I'm going to try and give it to you right here. Now, we do some things before that. We do a little segment that I like to call Erstwhile on This Day, where we take a look back at previous episodes of this day. This day, of course, being August the 17th, year of our Lord, 2023. So we go back in time. We just cherry pick some events that have occurred on August 16th. We look for patterns. We look for rhythms. We look for anything that could help us predict what to expect in the coming hours from this wild, wacky world we call home. Then we do the birthdays. Then we talk about people born on this day. Happy birthday! We celebrate. Sometimes we tell the truth. Sometimes we talk about people who were born on this day, and we go into the myth, we go into the legend, and then we uncrack the truth on them. Some we do there. Then we go into the deaths. We look at all the people who have died on this day. Mourn their passings? Maybe, maybe not, because that's the question that we ask during the death segment. Do we care that these people died? Here's why. I know it sounds cold. Pugs, you're not a cold guy. That's what people say to me all the time. They stop me on the street. Pugs, you're not a cold guy. And I go, I know. That's why I consider very carefully all of the people who have died. Here's what we know. We know that there are a lot of a-holes out there, and we know that everybody dies. That means a-holes die all the time. Sometimes they're famous. So we try and uncover whatever things might indicate. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking I want to do heaven or hell. Like, I want to switch this bit. I want it to not be do we care. That just happened organically. These are the people who died. These are the people who died. Do we care? That segment was born organically. I think it should be heaven or hell. Do I think they're in? What do you guys think in the chat room? We'll switch it up. Maybe we'll be starting tomorrow. No, you know what? Why not start it today? We could start it today. There's no reason we can't start it today. I mean, I've got hot takes on whether or not I care about these people passing or not, but I haven't really considered heaven or hell, because some of the people who I don't care, they might go to heaven. That doesn't mean they're necessarily going to hell. They may have just personally crossed me during my lifetime. Might be a personal thing. And then after that, after we do the erstwhile on this day, happy birthday, and do we care that you're dead? Which is now going to be rebranded as heaven or hell. After we do that, then we move into the hot topics, the current events, and the trends. So if you're ready, join with me, folks. Come on, get in the boat. There's plenty of room. I'm going to start paddling. I'm going to need you to paddle along with me because it is August the 17th. August the 17th, year of our Lord, 2023. That's right. There's been 2,023 of these, or so they tell us. There are 200. It's the 229th day of the year. That means there are 136 of these left until New Year's Eve. So get those plans started. Let's begin the show with erstwhile on this day, or if you will, previously on August the 17th. Did I call it the 16th a minute ago? I think I might have. I don't know. I'm sorry. I didn't have the page up. Now I have my little bullet points. Yeah, use bullet points. I work hard on this show. Sure, it's presented in a stream of consciousness, but there's got to be nuggets placed along the stream in order for me to take my steps down the stream. You know what I mean? Think of it that way. How are you going to cross the stream? You're going to cross rocks, right? So, of course, there's bullet points. These are little rocks in the stream that propel me forward. I'm not giving up any trade secrets here. All right, let's talk about erstwhile on this day in 1585. A first group of colonists sent to the New World by Sir Walter Raleigh, under the charge of Ralph Lane, lands in the New World to create Roanoke County on Roanoke Island off the coast of present-day North Carolina. Do we know about Roanoke County? Yes and no. Yes and no, we know about Roanoke County. Yes. We know Roanoke County was, at least on paper and by some ruins, a thing. No, we don't know anything more. We don't know what happened to... by the way, this is how Raleigh, North Carolina got its name. I never really thought about it being named after Sir Walter Raleigh. But he was the guy who sent the first group of people on a boat to sort of colonize that area, which we now know as North Carolina. They landed on this island, an island that was just inside the Outer Banks of North Carolina. You know where all those horses run free? I think that's it. Is that where the wild horses run? I don't know, whatever. That's like an anomaly of this country that I think everybody should check out. Like, what's that about? What do you mean there's just wild horse? It's a very strange thing. Anyway, I don't know if they just escaped and now they're feral. I don't know what the story is. It's cool though. It looks cool. Have you ever seen a poster? Like a lot of times you go to the office, and they have these inspirational posters. A lot of times they show those wild horses. It'll be like the wild horses running on a beach, and it'll say something like, "Friday's coming," or racing to Friday, whatever. I don't know. I'm just saying. So the Roanoke County, here's what we don't know about. There is a lot, boy, people don't know. Okay, so in 1585, the colonists land. Okay, on this day they land, they form the colony of Roanoke. And then by 5 years later, because it took like 4 years, so they dropped people off at the Roanoke County. And then they said, all right, we're heading back now. Like, basically, it's just like dropping people off in the middle of nowhere and going, find your way home, or, build a log cabin. So they dropped these people off, and they were told to establish the Roanoke County, and they went away. And then in 1587, 2 years later, they returned with supplies and new people who were like, yeah, I want to go to Roanoke. Sounds awesome. And they showed up and it was all gone. It was all gone except for one wall. One wall, someone had scrawled the Cahokia, which is another location, which took them to mean that for some reason they left this land and they moved to a different location, and this is the location we can find them at. So this 1587 group, the second group that came with the supplies for the first group that now vanished. This second group is like, all right, we're going to stick around. We're going to keep this. They left it. Do you want to go follow them or you want to stay here? They decided to stay there. I don't know. Maybe they were struck by the wild horses. If the wild horses were even a thing back then, I don't know. I do not know. Maybe it was an Indian thing. I don't know. So they decided to stay in 1587. The Sir Walter Raleigh and the rest of the boys, the big party, they showed back up in 1590. So 5 years after the initial. So 2 years after the initial, a second group showed up and they're like, hey, everybody's gone, but they stayed. Then the third group shows up and everybody's gone again. And they're like, what? What? So the Roanoke, it's the missing or the lost colony of Roanoke is what it's best known as in the legends of Americana. And that was started on this day in 1585. There's a lot of spooky stuff associated with it. They were probably just killed by Indians. And then there's other stories about how they assimilated with the Indians and took to their culture. And that explains why for like years later, European people would find these Indian tribes and these Indian cultures. They'd discover them and they'd see like a blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl who's like an Indian princess. You know, they're like, whoa, okay. So maybe, who knows? Roanoke, a great mystery from our deep, deep past. Let's see here. 1836, on this day, British Parliament accepts registrations of births and marriages and deaths for the very first time. See, before this time, people were responsible for just, their own. Hey, Martha, how many kids have you had? I don't know. And they would just write down the kid. It was very haphazard. It was on this day the birth certificate became a thing. 1836, officially, at least in England and in other countries, were like, hey, that's a pretty good idea. On this day in 1863, during the American Civil War, was to be, Fort Sumter was happening right now. Union batteries and ships bombard Confederate-held Fort Sumter on this day in 1863. That's a big one. I don't know nearly as much about the. You want to know what? Ed. I am blaming Ed, the king of radio misfits. I'm blaming Ed for my lack of knowledge about the Civil War. So I know I don't. Here's my problem. I know a whole lot about Grant. I know a whole lot about his strategies. I know a whole lot about his campaigns. I know a whole lot about when they turned him east and that changed the world. I know all about Grant. But the Civil War, I don't really know all that much about. I know the politics behind it. I know why it started. I know Lincoln and all. But as far as like battles, ins and outs, like there are dudes who like really know the Civil War, and I don't. So a while back, I decided that I was going to try and open up my wealth of knowledge concerning the Civil War, and I tried to watch Gettysburg. I blame Ed. And look, Ed will know what I mean. I tried to watch Gettysburg in the only place that it was available, and it won't play. And I'm like, and now, so I guess I'm going to go through life not knowing anything about the Civil War. I think I saw Gettysburg like 30 years ago. It didn't stick, All right. Anyway, it was on this day, Fort Sumter, that whole thing started. On this day in 1943, in World War II, the U.S. 7th Army under General George S. Patton arrives in Messina, Italy. Followed several hours later by old Monty and the British forces. This is a big deal for Patton. Patton wanted to get into Italy first because he thought that it would offer him the best strategic advantage to getting to mainland, getting to the boot, right? Getting to Berlin. Let's go. Let's get Hitler. That's what Patton wanted to do. He was stuck over there in North Africa. And finally they said, nah, go to Italy, go to Sicily. Well, they also told Monty and the Brits to do that too. And Patton, see, here's the thing. I think Patton hated Montgomery more than he hated Rommel. I really do. I think Patton had this like crazy competitive thing with Monty. So it was a big deal on this day when Patton and his forces landed in Sicily first, a couple of hours before Monty. Oh, was Monty pissed. On this day in 1946, the novella, what is that, a little novel? Is it a little novel? I consider this one of the only novels that I've ever read. I don't read novels, never did, never found them interesting. If I'm going to read something that's totally made up, I want to see it through the eyes of a film director. I don't need to read it, but you get to conjure. Yeah, I get that. I understand how that can be appealing to some people. It's not appealing to me. That is no judgment on people who that appeals to. That is simply saying I'm not one of them. Animal Farm. I loved Animal Farm. Orwell. I read Orwell. I read 1984. Oh my God, O'Brien. That's why I hate to this day. It's why I have this problem with like elitist authority figures. Because of O'Brien in 1984. I was a Winston guy. And then Animal Farm, which came out today. You know how brilliant Animal Farm is? For whatever reasons, I'm sure kids don't read it in high school anymore, but it's an allegory for the Soviet Revolution. It is a fantasy set in a farm yard, about a situation where the farm animals rise up, led by Napoleon, They rise up and they kick out, is Mr. Johnson or something, Farmer Johnson, whatever, and they kick him off the land and they return the farm to its rightful owner, the people, I mean the animals, right? It's an allegory for the rise of communism. And guess what happens? So they appoint two leaders. You got. I'm gonna look at me doing a clip notes of Animal Farm. So what happens? So two pigs lead the revolution. Those pigs are Napoleon and Snowball, and they become the new leaders. Old Major was the original one, but he died. So the two young leaders, they rise to the top. And then there's a big political problem, and then they turn against each other, and Napoleon chases Snowball away. Remember, these are the communist leaders. This is the allegory. And then Stalin, chases away the other guy, and everything goes to shit. Because from this ideal of a utopian promise that is the fuel of this uprising in the barnyard, that was just bullshit. That led to one person being in total control, exactly like that. It was brilliant. Oh my God, Animal Farm. I suggest you read it. It's brilliant. It's the story of, why communism is bad, except people didn't get that. Like, I guess people didn't read the whole book. They didn't get to the end. It's, for me, I read it as a cautionary tale on communism. And the same with 1984. Orwell was great. Anyway, it was on this day that Animal Farm was published for the very first time by George Orwell. On this day in 1998, let's jump ahead, the Monica Lewinsky scandal. It was on this day that U.S. President Bill Clinton admits in a taped testimony that he had an improper physical relationship with White House intern Monica Lewinsky. Later that same day, he admits before the nation that he misled people about the relationship. No desire whatsoever to rehash this thing. I do want to have a conversation about Monica because I think this is interesting about me as a person. When Monica first burst onto the scene, I think she's my age. She's like my age, right? So I looked at her as a contemporary. And at that time, I don't know, maybe she's a little younger. Maybe she is a little younger. Maybe she's a couple years younger. She might be. Now that I think about it, because she was like an intern and I was already like a young producer on the radio. So, but I remember looking at her, and my host used to make fun of her. Like, he would make fun of her physical appearance. I didn't really make fun of her physical appearance, but she didn't appeal to me. There was nothing about Monica Lewinsky that appeals to me. But now, as like a much older guy, like I look at her now and I'm like, Monica Lewinsky ain't that bad. I don't know why people made it out like she was awful, because she certainly isn't awful. Not at all. I mean, she's not I don't know. She's not Margot Robbie back in 1990, what year? 1998. But she's not, I mean, I just remember people being like, oh my God, she's absolutely disgusting. And I'm like, what? Really? Monica Lewinsky? I don't see it. I mean, I didn't sexualize her, like, even though her entire brand was, giving oral whatever to the president. I'm trying to figure out how to, in decent company, as I consider you all, how to talk about that. You can say whatever you want because you're on the internet. Yeah, I know I can say whatever I want, and I don't want to sound like a freaking loser. That's all. How's that? Yeah. Anyway, Monica Lewinsky, I never really got why people were like always like, she's unattractive. I'm like, I don't know. She's not bad. On this day in 2008, American swimmer Michael Phelps becomes the first person to win 8 gold medals at one Olympic Games. Yay! And a few months later, we would absolutely try and destroy this American hero because he was filmed at a frat party holding a bong or something like that. Whatever. Yes, in 2008, we cared about things. And apparently we don't care. We don't seem to care about nothing anymore. We let everything slide, which is maybe okay. I don't know. Let's see how this plays out. That's what I'm about. Let's do some birthdays. Buana, buana, buana. Today is a birthday. Dana, dana, dana. For people, not you. Well, maybe it is your birthday. That's true. Maybe it is your birthday. Born on this day. Did I do birthdays? Yeah. Born on this day, 1786. Davy Crockett, king of the wild frontier. Was that his thing? King of the wild frontier, Davy Crockett, died at the Alamo. I need some ice water. We'll get to why, but oh my God. He died at the Alamo. How he died at the Alamo is of some great historical debate. There is mythology and then there is like record. Problem here is that there seems to be records for both the mythology and the thing that says the mythology is wrong. And what am I talking about? Well, legend has it that Davy Crockett died bravely to the very end at the Alamo. He was found in an officer's quarters, dead, and there were 13 dead Mexican soldiers in the room with him. So he killed. This is the legend of Davy Crockett. He killed 13. And one of his knives was sunk into the chest of one of the victims. So that's the legend. Cool legend. Great. Whatever. None of us were there. We could choose to believe that. Then there's another story that, some historian wrote some biography in the mid-'80s about Davy Crockett and went deep and actually has testimony from people in newspaper reports and eyewitness accounts who said that Davy Crockett and a number of others from the Alamo surrendered and then were executed. And this was initially uncovered because Mexico, believe it or not, they actually had an inquisition on what we would call today war crimes. And they discovered that during the Battle of the Alamo, which is not part of the legend here in America, but it is in Mexico, and the government at the time looked into it, that during the Battle of the Alamo, that all of those who surrendered were executed instead of taken prisoner, which was not a written rule at the time. We didn't have the Geneva Convention and whatnot, but it was certainly something that sophisticated, non-primal armies abided by. So I don't know, but there's also documentation that supports the hero stuff. So he's it's an interesting guy. Davy Crockett he went to the Alamo. He's from Tennessee. He was a congressman from Tennessee who took a gun and went to go fight. If the suggestion is that he's some kind of a wuss, I don't think so. I don't know. Born on this day in 1893, Mae West, America's first promiscuous superstar. That's what she was. We've had a lot of them over the years. We did. Well, Brigitte Bardot, the bombshell mania of the 60s, your Mansfields, your of course, your Marilyn Monroe. Move it into the 70s, you can add your Raquel Welch's, your Bo Dereks, your Farrah Fawcett. Their whole brand was that they were hot and that you wanted to be with them. That's 10. That's what 10 was about. 10, Bo Derek. Pamela Anderson. Do we still have them today or has Me Too kind of stopped this? But there were celebrities whose entire brand was just, you want me and you might get me. That you might get me is the important part because there were no other, all actresses, I do declare, gentlemen, has never spoken to me in such a manner. That was like kind of the whole thing. And then Mae West was like, nope, I'll do ya. Right? And I was like, whoa, Mae West, happy birthday, born on this day. Born on this day in 1896, a guy who's, is he getting any love? I don't even know. Is he even, the film Oppenheimer is as big as it gets, but how come they never talk about Oppenheimer's boss? Happy birthday, Leslie Groves, General Leslie Groves. Played memorably by the great Paul Newman. Paul Newman portrayed General Leslie Groves in the awesome film. I haven't seen Oppenheimer, but I've seen Fat Man and Little Boy like 10 times because I love that movie. That was Oppenheimer before they decided to make this whole new thing about Oppenheimer. Fat Man and Little Boy from the 90s. Paul Newman. I don't know, like D.B. Sweeney. I don't know. It was some no name they got. No! You know who they got? Oh my God. Here you go, Gen X. One for you. Coming hot off the griddle. You know who played Oppenheimer in the Paul Newman movie, Fat Man and Little Boy? You know who played Oppenheimer? Remember Mad Dog from the A-Team? Yeah! Dwight. His name's Dwight Schultz. No. Dwight Schultz. No. Who is Dwight Schultz? Now I got to know who Dwight Schultz is. Oh, my God. That name just came out of nowhere in my Gen X brain, and now I need to know who Dwight Schultz is. If any of you in the chat room know before, Who's Dwight Schultz? It's not Hal. See, man, he's Mad Dog. Yeah, that's him. That's him. Okay, so in the only Oppenheimer movie I've seen so far, Fat Man and Little Boy, starring Paul Newman, the Oppenheimer role went to Mad Dog from. He was good though. He was good. He wasn't Mad Dog. Apparently, the Dwight Schultz guy is a pretty good actor, right? Because Mad Dog was a character. I don't know. All right, moving on. There you go. Happy birthday, General Leslie Groves, Oppenheimer's boss. Born on this day in 1914. I typically don't do this because, I don't like the silver spoons, right? I don't like the elitist kid who's done nothing. But we're going to mention them because some weird stuff's going on, man. Some real weird stuff's going on, Sarge. Put a pin in this one. Born on this day in 1914, Franklin Delano Roosevelt Jr. That's right, the kid. Oh, God. Just put a pin in it. We'll move on, and then we'll revisit. Born on this day in 1929, Francis Gary Powers. Remember him? He was the U-2 pilot. He was the pilot of the U-2 spy plane that got shot down. It was a big, big issue. It was one of the great American lies. We had to lie. We were going to tell the truth. Are you kidding me? That was important technology. So here's what happened if you don't remember. Gary Powers was flying a brand new piece of high-tech American surveillance tech. He was in a spy plane. He was in the U-2 spy plane. This is also the plane that the band U-2 named themselves after. And he got shot down over like Soviet airspace, and they arrested him and they put him in prison, and it was a whole thing. The Soviets got an American, and here was our thing. Now, as it turns out, we had to admit that yes, it turned out it was a surveillance plane, but we claimed that he just got lost. Like he wasn't trying to. See how silly that was? Like we stood up and told the whole world he got lost, and the world was like, coincidentally while in a spy plane? And we're like, yeah. We know that's not the case now because we know the Cold War's over. We know. But that was a great. And we all played. I think even smart people were like, yeah, really? No. But we're going with it because of them damn commies. On this day, born Francis Gary Powers. Born on this day in 1943. This is going to take a minute, guys. Are you ready? We're gonna spend some time here. I need to fluid up. You guys, Robert De Niro is celebrating a birthday today. No fanfare, no applause, no Robert De Niro draft. I mean, there's gonna be one, don't get me wrong, but here's the thing. So it was Robert De Niro's birthday and decided to really put together a heartfelt and thoughtful Robert De Niro draft. Now, what is a draft? If you're new to this here thing, what we do is we take a person, a celebrity, typically we look at their body of work and we draft those projects as if they were stud athletes coming out of college into the NFL. We do it in a 5-round system. First pick overall is what I deem to be the best available. Goes to 5. In my attempt to do the Robert De Niro draft, you guys, I broke the draft board. I quit. I got to. So after we do the top 5, then we do what's called like free agent camp invites. And I started doing the free agent camp invites. And I looked at the clock and I realized I had been doing free agent camp invites for a half hour. He broke the board. I stopped looking at his filmography after 2005. I don't know, The Irishman. Forget about all the Fokker stuff. I never got to it. That's how prolific an actor Robert De Niro is. It is ridiculous. So let's do the Robert De Niro draft. Let's get it started. I also had to change how I do the draft. Typically, this is projects. This is movies. These are not the best. I'm not drafting Robert De Niro movies. Oh, no. I am drafting Robert De Niro roles. That's right. Not the movies, the roles. And to that end, these are the characters created by Robert De Niro over the course of his amazing career. And they are, you might think of Robert De Niro as just that one thing that, from Goodfellas or Casino or some of the Scorsese roles that he's played that are very similar. But he has played everything, man. I mean, you've got. So we're going to do the Robert De Niro draft. Here we go. Let's get started. First off the board, not even a question, man. This is Andrew Luck. This is not even a question for me as far as greatest Robert De Niro characters. Ladies and gentlemen, Rupert Pupkin from The King of Comedy, 1983. Robert De Niro, Martin Scorsese's King of Comedy. Unbelievable. Goodfellas is my favorite Scorsese film, but King of Comedy is right there, right next to it. King of Comedy, Robert De Niro, Rupert Pupkin. Number 1 off the board. And man, were there a lot of choices, as you will see. Number 2 off the board, Jimmy Conway from 1990, Goodfellas. Rupert Pupkin goes number 1. Jimmy Conway, Jimmy the Gent. Conway goes number 2. Number 3, Jake LaMotta, 1980, Raging Bull. You never knocked me down, Ray. You never knocked me down. Number 4 off the Robert De Niro board. How could Travis Bickle, 1975's Taxi Driver. You talking to me? You talking to me? You must be talking to me. There ain't nobody else here. When you have created roles where I can throw out iconic lines from that role, one after another, are you kidding me? Number 1, Rupert Pupkin. Number 2, Jimmy Conway from Goodfellas. Rupert was from King of Comedy. Number 3, Jake LaMotta, Raging Bull. Number 4, Travis Bickle, Taxi Driver. Number 5 off the board. You knew he could have been number 1 on a lot of people's boards. 1974, Vito Corleone, The Godfather Part 2. That's right. Those are the draft picks. I submit to you, every single one of those 5 is a lock to be a Hall of Famer. Every single one of those 5 draft picks could have been the number 1 overall draft pick. Once again, Robert De Niro's body of work, we're doing characters, the best Robert De Niro characters in a draft style. First pick overall, Rupert Pupkin. Second pick overall, Jimmy Conway from Goodfellas. Number 3 is Jake LaMotta, Raging Bull. Number 4 is Travis Bickle, Taxi Driver. Number 5, Vito Corleone, The Godfather Part 2. But, oh God, this is where the draft board broke. All right, so I'm just going to run through some of them. We stopped. I think you can pretty much just say any role he's ever played gets a free agent camp invite, because I looked through the filmography and there's not a dog in the entire list. Not a single dog. I don't think he's ever made a movie or been in a movie where he played this crappy role. All right, coming to camp. A personal favorite of mine, 1973's Bang the Drum Slowly. He played Bruce Pearson, catcher Bruce Pearson. Bang the Drum Slowly was a baseball movie, Michael Moriarty. It was really good. He plays a catcher with cancer. It's Brian's song on a baseball diamond. They played for the New York. They were basically the Yankees. That's Bruce Pearson for Bang the Drum Slowly. Then Johnny Boy from Mean Streets in 1973. How about Noodles from 1983's Once Upon a Time in America? Sergio Leone's epic American gangster film. One of the great, probably the second after The Godfather. It's probably Sergio Leone's Once Upon a Time in America, where Robert De Niro starred as Noodles. Woo! A Jewish kid from the ghetto of New York who rises to be, basically it's Meyer Lansky, if you're familiar with the Meyer Lansky story, but it's really, really interesting. Great role. All right, also coming to camp in the Robert De Niro draft, how about Lucifer. How about the devil in Angel Heart? That's right. Robert De Niro, Louis Cypher, Lisa Bonet, Mickey Rourke being all skanky and sweaty. Angel Heart's a good movie. Don't know what it's about. Good movie, though. How about Jack Walsh from 1988? But De Niro didn't really do a lot of comedy. King of Comedy was not a comedy, although he was funny in parts. It's really his first time that he did comedy. He did it with the great, a buddy pick, a road pick, if you will, with the great Charles Grodin. He played Jack Walsh. Midnight Run, one of the great unsung Robert De Niro films. And it's an unsung Robert De Niro film, but like the first film that people mention with Charles Grodin, even though Charles Grodin has a crap ton of great movies like The Lonely Guy or The Heartbreak Kid. But, that just shows the difference in star power. For Robert De Niro, that movie doesn't even barely rate. It gets camp invite. For Charles Grodin, it might be the number 1 overall pick in the draft. Buddy picture, Midnight Run, 1988, so funny. How about Max Cady from 1991? Yeah, you know the character name. That's how good he was. Cape Fear, 1991. Max Cady. Remember him doing in jail, doing the getting all ripped. How about Ace Rothstein, 1994, Casino? How do you not include? Most people might even include Ace Rothstein as a draft pick, as one of the top fives. Heat, I forgot what the character's name was, but you got to put that in. How about Paul Beatty, the gangster, in Analyze This and Analyze That? He went and got funny again with Billy Crystal. Those were good roles. And then look, this is where I stopped. I got to this one and I went, we're done. The draft board is broken. We're going to invite, of course, because I looked at this one and I go, well, this could be a draft pick again. This is another one. I can't keep doing this. I can't do 50 more of these. Jack Burns from Meet the Parents, Meet the Fockers, whatever you want to call it. That concludes the exhaustive Robert De Niro draft. Man, oh man, I quit on it. It's the first time I've ever quit. I don't think I've quit on Pacino. I don't think I've quit on Dustin Hoffman. I didn't quit on Jack Nicholson. Man, that really says something. I think he's the biggest star of my lifetime. I really do. I think he's done more, bigger, Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford might be a tough one too. Have I done a Harrison? Of course I have. I've been doing this show for 2 years. What? Anyway. All right, moving on. That's a happy birthday to you, De Niro. Born on this day in 1943. Born on this day in 1944, Oracle founder Larry Ellison. He don't get a draft. Born on this day in 1958. Oh, man. Let me tell you something. I met this lady in a social situation. So it wasn't like professional or anything like that. It was just, I met this lady who was at a restaurant and there was a party going on. It was during the Grammys, during Grammy week. I remember my partner Kelly and I used to go out to the Grammys all the time. And it's happy birthday, Belinda Carlisle. Ooh, baby, do you know what that's worth? You make heaven a place on earth. She was awesome, man. And before we got the beat, vacation, all I ever wanted. Go-Go's? Are you kidding me? Chicks that could rock? I was down. I'm 11 years old, 10 years old, whatever I was when the Go-Go's first popped up. Maybe I was older. I don't know. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. A couple years later, I was happy to see the Bengals make the scene. I had no problem there. But I will tell you this. I thought Belinda Carlisle was so cute. Oh my God, did my little 11-year-old heart have a crush on Belinda Carlisle? And here's where we get to the story where I actually get to meet her. Childhood crush, right? So I was really, is she a weirdo? You know what I mean? It's like, I've seen some documentaries on the Go-Go's and stuff, and I've seen her portrait. She's kind of like a little punk chick, really cute. The rest of the Go-Go's got mad at her because, Hollywood said, hey, you're really pretty. Why don't you go solo and we'll turn you into a sex bomb? And she was like, okay. And, it worked out for her. She had a couple of hit songs. But I was a little bit worried. Like, what was she going to be like? Dude, she was so cool. She was just like a normal, she was like somebody's wife. She wasn't there as somebody's wife. She was there with actually a group of other girls who I didn't know who they were. But yeah, I was like, she's like, oh, do you know Belinda? Belinda, he's on the radio and he's here for the Grammys. And it was never Belinda Carlisle. They never introduced her to me that way. And I just said, yeah. I go, I'm sure you've been to the Grammys. You know how it is. And she goes, man. She goes, I used to love the Grammys, but then it just became so, I didn't start talking about people that she didn't like. She didn't say names, but she's like, I stopped. And that's when I moved. And she was so friendly. And it was never like, this is Belinda Carlisle and this is a visiting radio personality. You two should do some cross publicity. No, it was just like it was in a bar and she was introduced to me as Belinda and I knew exactly who she was. I thought she was cool. She was a cool chick. She was just a normal person. She didn't like go, I'm a go-go. Of course, it was like 2008, so nobody cared. She was a go-go in 2008. You know what I'm saying? But that's good. Belinda Carlisle, happy birthday, lady. Born on this day in 1958. I bet she's still cute. I bet you she's a good-looking older woman. Absolutely. No doubt there. All right, let's go. Born on this day in 1960, Sean Penn. Oh, God, no. The draft board is broken. The draft board is broken. We can't do another draft. So, okay, so let me give you. All right, so you know what? I will go. I will go. Greatest. We did it for De Niro. Greatest Sean Penn roles. Number one, we're going Spicoli. I'm thinking this through. Pac-Man. Number two, we're going Pac-Man from Colors. Remember Colors? Junior. Do you guys remember At Close Range? The movie At Close Range. It was I think it was Sean Penn and Christopher Walken, and it was a true story. And they played like dirtbag father and son in like rural Pennsylvania, who ran like a little mob, like a little breaking and entering, stolen robbery, scumbag, trash mob. Yeah, that was good. Junior. He was Junior. What was his name? Brad Jr. Because he was Christopher Walken was so freaking scary in that movie At Close Range. All right, so what would that be? That would be number. Okay, so Spicoli and Pac-Man were so that's three off the board in his draft. Detective Terry Noonan from State of Grace. It's where he met Robin Wright. Remember that movie? That movie's so great. That's about the dude who grows up in Hell's Kitchen and he's involved in the Irish mob. And Gary Oldman is like his old running buddy from the Irish mob. And then he goes away and he disappears. And everybody thinks that he's on the run for some crime, but really he went to Boston and became a cop. And now Sean Penn is back in Hell's Kitchen. He's an undercover cop working for the feds now, going to bust up this gang that he came up in. Oh, State of Grace. Forgot about that. And then, I don't know, Dead Man Walking, whatever that guy's name. Milk. We'll go with Milk. I think he won an Academy Award for that. So there you go. That concludes our... I know we didn't give Sean Penn the respect as an actor. We had De Niro. I'm sorry. By the way, De Niro and Penn made a bunch of movies together in the 80s. We're No Angels. What else did Falcon and the Snowman. How did I forget? Just the other day, we were talking about Timothy Hutton, and I mentioned Falcon and the Snowman. Falcon and the Snowman. Sean Penn was so good in Falcon and the Snowman. Oh, man, he was twisted. His performance, and I'll put it to you this way, because you may not be familiar with his performance in that. Sean Penn's performance in Falcon and the Snowman was every bit as good and impressive as Robert Downey Jr.'s performance as Jules in Less Than Zero. Remember how great? Well, maybe you don't. Maybe you're not as much of a movie dork as I am. Moving on. Born on this day in 1963, celebrating a birthday today, John Gruden. Hey, where's he been? Born on this day, 1969. Born on this day in 1969. A guy who I am enjoying. I am enjoying a documentary that's narrated by him. Donnie Wahlberg. Not Mark. Not the big one. But do you think that's a problem between them? Because Donnie Wahlberg was a big star. He was the New Kids on the Block. He was the bad boy in New Kids on the Block. He was a big star. And he had this little brother who was like always hanging around backstage and stuff, walking around shirtless with his underwear hiked up. I don't know. And then his brother, some like management said, hey, what if we give your brother a group? And then Donnie Wahlberg was like, I'm in the New Kids. We're the biggest band on the planet. Go ahead. Give my stupid little brother his own group. And that's where Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch came from. And then he had hits. And then the New Kids on the Block, their bloom was off that rose. They started to fade. And then suddenly, how far can you take? Good vibrations. Come on. How far can you take that? Mark Wahlberg goes, I'm going to be an actor now. And the rest is history. It's not Mark Wahlberg's birthday. It's his older brother, Donnie's. And I wonder if, Donnie sometimes goes, what happened? What happened here? I was the older brother. I was in the New Kids in the Block. I was like the coolest thing he ever saw. And now I'm living in his guest house in the Hollywood Hills. What happened? Anyway, Donnie Wahlberg is narrating a really cool documentary that I'm watching from ESPN Films called Celtics Lakers Best of Enemies. Oh, it's so good. It is so good. It is told from the perspective of Donnie Wahlberg, a diehard lifelong Celtics fan, and Ice Cube, a diehard lifetime Lakers fan. And it is so good. The two narrations as they go back and forth talking smack about the other team, really cool. Really well done. It's called Celtics Lakers Best of Enemies. Born on this day in 1991, Austin Butler. He's a hell of a young actor. He's one to watch, I guess they'd say. I only know him in two things. He was incredible in both. Oh, Austin Butler, so good as Elvis. Not the best. We covered that. He's not the best Elvis. Kurt Russell is the best Elvis. Kurt Russell, by far the best Elvis. Don Johnson, most entertaining Elvis. Probably because he didn't do it good, but he was having fun with the role. But Austin Butler is definitely right in there somewhere. Austin Butler. So he played Elvis. He was great in that. And then in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Tarantino movie about Manson and all that, he played Tex Watson. He played Tex Watson, Manson's right-hand guy. Austin Butler, born on this day in 1991. One to watch. That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm getting from him? You want to seriously career trajectory? Like, let's look at Austin Butler 20, 25, 30 years from now. You want to know what I'm getting? Ready for this? Brad Pitt. I'm getting Brad Pitt career trajectory. That's what I think is in Austin Butler's future. I think he's gonna be the handsome guy that chicks go crazy for, like Brad Pitt. But then he's also gonna make these landmark films that no one for 200 years is ever gonna forget. So he's solidifying himself as an icon of the era. But then also on top of that, dude is really talented. Like Brad Pitt, say what you want about Brad Pitt is really talented. I get them vibes. I get Brad Pitt vibes all over Austin Butler. So buy stock in him if that's a thing. Born on this day in 1994, Phoebe Bridgers, American singer and songwriter. I like her. I like her whole style, her whole vibe. Born on this day in 2000, someone I don't know, but I am sure that my son does. Happy birthday, Lil Pump. Lil Pump, American rapper. What is that? What is the Lil? What's the Lil in front of everything? Lil Wid. Are there any bigs? Like, I know there's a Biggie, but is there like big? Well, Big Sean. Yeah, there's bigs. But not to the extent that there's like Lils. Like, you can go all the way back. Who's the first Lil? Like you know how every sports team in America has at least 5 people on it named Jalen. Suddenly, like, that Jalen was never a thing. It was never a name. It's never a name. Jalen wasn't a name. Jalen wasn't a name before Jalen Rose in the Fab Five, Michigan. And this is actually a real sociological thing that's been studied. I'm not just riffing here. It might sound like I am, but there have actually been. Jalen Rose actually walks around and claims to be the original Jalen, the first Jalen. It was him. And it was him becoming so. Now every sports team, I don't care what sport it is, you got an NBA team, you've got a Jalen. You got an NFL team, you've got a Jalen. Baseball, you're not guaranteed to have a Jalen in baseball. Probably not soccer either. Although give it a few years. And if soccer continues to grow, there's gonna be crap tons of Jalens on American soccer teams. Anyway, Jalen goes all the way back like that. So who was Lil? Who's the original? If Jalen Rose is like the original Jalen, and by the way, it doesn't matter how you spell it. It's just about how it's pronounced, because people spell things differently. Some people don't know how to spell things. And some people like to get fancy with their spellings. I mean, it's a name. I applaud that. Somebody once said to me, and it stuck, the greatest and most significant gift that the parent will ever give a child is their name. So make it a good one. Make it, you know what I mean? So I don't care how you want to spell Jalen. How would you spell it? I don't care. We've seen it spelled a million different ways. All right. So Lil, where did Lil come from? Lil Kim? That's what I think. I think it's Lil Kim. Because Lil Kim can be traced all the way back to the mid-90s. But was there someone Lil Wayne? Lil Wayne was big, but like, you might think that Lil Wayne is the first, but no, Lil Kim definitely comes before Lil Wayne. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Happy birthday, Lil Pump. My son will be pleased to know that I did a good 5 minutes on Little Pump. Little, look at me pronouncing it like the 50-year-old white guy. Little. It's Lil. I have trouble with my L's. Always have. I have lazy L's. Like I don't say milk. I say milk. Like, I'll get some milk. So Lil is difficult for me. I have to Lil. See, Lil. That's how my lazy L's would react to Lil. Lil. Not Lil. You got to get some action in there. Lil Pump instead of just Lil. Lil pump. Dad, let's do some people who died. These are the people who died. Oh no, we changed it, right? Yeah, we changed it. All right, we'll do a hybrid, heaven or hell, because here's what we like to say. We're going to run through some people who've died on this day in history. We're going to talk about them a little bit. We're going to decide whether or not we care that they're dead or not. I know that sounds cold, and I'm not a cold person, but we're going to add a new wrinkle. We're going to add in, do we think they're going to heaven or hell, okay? And so here's what I'll do. I'll shout their name out, okay? I'll give you the name first because we can play this with the chat room. I'll say the name first, and then I'll do my little riff on it because that should account for the timing. You know, there's a delay in the chat room. So I'll do my little riff on it, and then you guys tell me heaven or hell. All right, I'll give you the name of the person. You tell me if you think they're going to heaven or hell. Okay, dead on this day in 1979, Vivian Vance. She was Viv from the Lucy show. She was Lucy's friend. She was Vivian Vance. Fun story about Vivian Vance. Oh, did she hate doing Lucy? She loved Lucy. She loved Desi. She hated Fred. Oh, that's right. Ethel hated Fred. Did you know that? Fred hated Ethel too. Fred wanted nothing to do with Ethel. Do you want to know why Ethel hated Fred? You want to know why Vivian Vance hated Fred? Vivian Vance hated Fred because Fred was like 60 and she was like 25. And they were like, okay, you guys are married. And she's like, wait, what? Lucy gets Desi, who is like age appropriate and handsome and interesting. And I'm marrying my grandpa? That was literally what she said. She said, I'm married to my grandpa. That's how she described. What was his name? Fred? Who played Fred? I don't know. Whatever. I don't know. There you have it. Vivian Vance, heaven or hell? You tell me. We got April in. April says heaven. Byron says hell. I think Byron is going to be pretty consistently on the hell side. Let's see here. It's going to be a consensus in the chat room. Heaven. Oh, there is no consensus in the chat room. All right. Okay. All right. Frank, that's great. I'm Frank Smith. Vivian Vance's greatness. Okay. But I just asked for heaven or hell. I'm just trying to do a count. Look, I don't care. I'm overriding everybody. Vivian Vance. Viv is going to heaven. How does she not go to heaven? All right. Dead on this day. Do we care? And yeah, we care. We care of Vivian Vance. We care about her. She seemed nice. Dead on this day in 1983, Ira Gershwin, American songwriter. Gershwin, who do you think you are? Gershwin? I don't even know what he did. I think he did, I don't know, Rhapsody and something like that. Let's just throw the word Rhapsody out there and just go, Gershwin? Sure. I don't know. Look, you can, heaven or hell, Ira Gershwin. You can't. Here's the thing. We're not a very sophisticated society as far as culture goes. We're 50 years away from any time that this dude was relevant or meant anything. We can't be expected to know Ira Gershwin. Or is this George? Wasn't it George and Ira Gershwin? Look at me knowing stuff. Hollywood is they're already going to try and force feed us Leonard Bernstein in some absurdly boring looking film made by Bradley Cooper. Do we have room? Heaven or hell? Ira Gershwin. We got a hell. We got, yeah, you know what? I'm going with you. Ira Gershwin, you go to hell, as voted by the chat room. All right, here's one. This one's going to be difficult. You chat room, I'm looking at you, some of you people on the border in the chat room that I wonder about. Dead on this day in 1987. Couple of questions here. Dead on this day in 1987. Rudolf Hess. All right. So my first question is, how did Hitler's second in command live to 1987? How did that happen? What are they, Weissführer or whatever he was. So Rudolf Hess, remember Rudolf Hess was the guy that he was completely devoted to Hitler, started following Hitler around when Hitler was just making fiery speeches in beer halls, and he dedicated his entire life to Hitler, probably wrote Mein Kampf. He's probably the guy that actually wrote it. Anyway, he rose to the position of being second in command to the entire, he was second in command. It was Hitler and Hess. Hess was his Kamala, I guess. And he's the one that started to notice first. Like maybe he should have noticed earlier, like, I don't know, in the beer halls. But he started to notice that maybe Hitler was a little bit, like maybe Hitler was a little bit crazy. And maybe Hitler wasn't living in the real world and wasn't accepting all of these facts about the war. So Rudolf Hess decided that he was going to try and end the war. So he stole a plane and flew to Scotland. And the plan was that he was going to meet secretly with somebody in Scotland. But unfortunately, they didn't know he was coming, so they shot him down. And instead of him being able to go, hey, I just escaped and I got some information and I want to end the war, instead of doing that, they went, you're under arrest. And they just threw him in there. Rudolf Hess, heaven or hell? It better be hell. Hell. Just following orders, Jeff Ballard says. No, not Rudolf Hess, Jeff Ballard. Rudolf Hess wasn't following orders. Rudolf Hess was the guy coming up with most of them because Hitler was just, he's running around doing shit. Rudolf Hess with the final solution and all that, rubber stamped by him first before he brought it to the big guy. Nothing got to the big guy without going through Hess first. So no, he wasn't just following orders. He was advocating. Although this is why it's not complicated. He's going to hell. Rudolf Hess is going to hell. It's not complicated. But it is interesting in that he did try to end the war. He did try, and that failed miserably, and it was very embarrassing to him. And that's why he lived to 1987. He lived to 1987. The war ended in, Hitler died in 40, whatever, I don't even know, 44, 45, something like that. He lived to 1987. And you want to hear how it gets even weirder with Rudolf Hess? He was 93 years old when he died by suicide. He killed himself at 93. He hung himself here, I'll read it to you. Let's see. Hess was found dead on August 17th, 1987 at age 93. He was found in a summer house. They gave him a summer house. He was found in a summer house that had been set up in the prison garden as a reading room. He had hanged himself using an extension cord strung over a window latch. A short note to his family was found in his pocket, thanking them for all that they had done. The Four Power authorities released a statement on the 17th of September, ruling that the death was a suicide. He was initially buried at a secret location to avoid media attention or demonstrations by Nazi sympathizers. But his body was reinterred in a family plot at Wuschneiden on March the 17th, 1988. His wife was buried beside him. What? Just throw them bones in the sewer, baby. That dude's Rudolf Hess. He was second in command. Dead on this day in 1988. Do you guys remember earlier when I told you we celebrated a birthday and I was like, we typically don't do these silver spoon little puds. But it's Franklin Delano Roosevelt's birthday today. Happy birthday, Franklin Delano Roosevelt Jr. You're dead. Yeah, dude died on his birthday. Franklin Delano Roosevelt Jr. Lawyer, coattail rider. He's just a fancy name haver. Franklin Delano Roosevelt died on this day in 1988 on his birthday. How weird is that? So heaven or hell? Heaven or hell? Roosevelt's son. I got to ask the chat room. He's going to heaven. He's going to heaven. His dad's the greatest president we ever had. He gets in on that. If his dad, because his dad's definitely, in my opinion, I'm the judge here. His dad's definitely in prison. His dad's definitely in heaven. So, and I think his dad holds so much sway in heaven because of the whole Nazi thing, beating the Germans and all that. I think God appreciates that. I think because he's him and Churchill, basically, they get a lot of leeway in heaven. You know what I mean? They're like prisoners who have keys. Sometimes you see these guys, he's been in prison 50 years. He's got a set of keys. He let himself in and out. What do they call him? They call him a certain kind of prisoner. It doesn't matter. It's going to bother me. But anyway, I think that, Franklin Delano Roosevelt could probably get his son in. So there you go. He's going to heaven. Dead on this day in 1990. Do we care? We don't really care, but yeah, he's probably going to heaven. I don't care about the silver spoon son of a president. I care about the president, but he's going to heaven. See, there you go. That's one of those situations where we don't care, but they're going to heaven. Let's see here. Dead on this day in 1990. How about Pearl Bailey? Remember Pearl Bailey? She was on TV all the time in the 70s. Do we care? Yeah. Where's she going? Heaven. Why? Because I got nothing against her. Why wouldn't she go to heaven? She seemed like a nice lady. All right. Dead on this day. Here's one that here. I want us to look at this one here. because we did a different version of this. Dead on this day in 2015. Let me show you my girl here. Look at her. She's amazing. Boop. Yeah, that'll work. Look at her. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, dead on this day, the great, the memorable Yvonne Craig. Look at her. Look at Batgirl. My Batgirl. Has there been another Batgirl? See, the reason I felt it was important to show some Yvonne Craig is because yesterday I talked about how Julie Newmar, I don't know if it's Julie Newmar's birthday or if she died on that yesterday, I don't know. But Julie Newmar played Catwoman. She was like the original Catwoman. Man, as a little kid watching, I wasn't even sexually activated. You know, when you're 5-6 years old, you aren't sexually, like you don't get turned on. That's not a thing. It's not happening yet. But man, I could have been 5 or 6 years old, and when I looked at Batgirl or when I looked at Catwoman, I knew something was going on. I mean, I really liked them. When they were on camera, they made me smile. So yesterday we paid tribute to Julie Newmar, who's my Catwoman, the original Catwoman. And now, of course, Yvonne Craig. Look at her. She was so cute. Remember, she was Commissioner Gordon's daughter? And so you saw, like right here, we're seeing her as Batwoman. Or Batgirl. I'm sorry. Do we have to call her Batwoman now? I want to see her without the mask because she's real pretty. She's like real. She was Commissioner Gordon, or was she Chief O'Hara's daughter? No. She's Commissioner Gordon's daughter. That's right. That's the mythology. She was cute. All right, there she goes. There's Batgirl. What a stupid uniform though, huh? I mean, you think for TV, back then, that looked really cheap. That looked like the kind of uniform. All those uniforms from Batman were silly. As the 60s. All right, there you have it. Do we care that Yvonne Craig died on this day? Yes, we do. And where is she going? She's going to heaven. That's where Yvonne Craig is going because she's an angel. All right, that's going to do it for all of the prerequisites that we set up here before we get into the hot topics, the current events, the trends, and all the things that people are talking about, because that is how this show is built. It's supposed to be informative. You're supposed to get like 2 hours of me going blah, 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 blah about everything. So let's get started with that part of the show. Also, I want to direct you to, why is that up? Who killed Live 105.3? Why is that up? How long has that been up? I haven't noticed. Oh, I put that up instead of these are the people who died, I bet. Yeah. All right. Well, because I'm an idiot, tip the show if you want. That's the way that this show runs. Your gratuities, we appreciate it. I saw we got a couple this week, not many. Not doing real great. So Mama Beller checked in again. I saw a couple other people too. I'll make a new list and I'll do all of my thank yous to those of you who have supported the show. But we could use the help. I mean, these are the middle. We're going to be up against it again at the end, and that's what I fear. So if you can drop a little something, like I say, treat me like I'm your bartender, your barista, whatever. Drop a little something in the Cash App, the Venmo. Go a long way to making sure that these shows continue. Appreciate you in advance. All right, let's move into everything that is happening today. Oh, God. Okay. Make it stop! The number one thing here in North Texas where we do this show is that, ladies and gentlemen, after a 2-day break, guess who's back in the starting lineup? Excessive heat. That's right. It was so beautiful. And God, man, I'm such an idiot. The last 2 days were not by any standard beautiful. The last 2 days were also extremely hot. The last 2 days were like 97 and 95. Those are still hot days, man. And yet, because of what we've been going through, the last 2 days have felt like a respite from war. It was beautiful. I sat out on the back porch again last night because last night it got down to like 85, 84, something like that. I looked at I'm like, okay, it's time to sit outside. That's still hot. That's not comfortable. But the heat's back. Okay, so the heat is back today. Anyone who thought that we were going to get, fall's coming early around here. Fall don't come in Texas until Thanksgiving. That's when, even then, sometimes Thanksgiving, it's like 90. Ugh. All right, let me look. So, that's cool. So the last time my phone updated a temperature, it was at 6:50 this morning. and it was 75 degrees. Whoo! Man, why wasn't I outside? Why? Well, because I was sleeping. Because it was 6:50 in the morning. It was 75 degrees. It's 105 here in beautiful Highland Park, Texas, and it is currently 103 degrees. God, what's it going to be at 4 o'clock? If it's 103 at 1, that means it's going to be 100. We could hit 110 today. Oh, God, because the sun is still, oh, my God. All right, let's see what they're saying for us. All right, today they got us at a high of 108. High of 108 for today. Tomorrow, high of 109. Oh, yeah? You can go up one digit. You can't be certain this is your prediction, but here's what you decided. When you knew today was 108 and you had to put tomorrow's prediction down, you chose to go 109. There's no way you can possibly know. You could have just put 108 again, but you knew that that wouldn't bum us out. So you made a choice to go up one made-up predictive number in order to get that effect from it, and that's what we're looking at here. Today, 108 is the expected high. Friday, tomorrow, 109 is the expected high. Saturday, the expected high, 107. Okay, so it's getting better. Nope, Sunday, the expected high is 110 degrees. That's followed by 105 on Monday, and then it looks the next 2 days. The next 2 days we get a break. It's going to be beautiful again. It's only going to be 103 and 102. Oh, I can't wait for a week from today. Just come on, man. This heat is stupid. All right, there you go. That's my heat rant. Weather. Hey, what's the weather outside? Oppressively hot. I think it's so cute. I remember growing up and like hearing that term. Well, folks, you're going to have to get yourself someplace cool because it's going to be oppressively hot here in the Chicago area. Temperatures could reach as high as 93 degrees. Do you know what I wouldn't do for 93 degrees? We didn't even have 93 degrees. I thought it was goddamn Shangri-La the last 48 hours, and we didn't even get to 93 degrees. Tropical Storm Hillary. Did they have to name it that? Tropical Storm Hillary. Have you heard about this? Yeah, probably not, because it's not a tropical storm anymore. It is now a hurricane. Hurricane Hillary. It's off the Baja California and Southern California. Batten down the hatches, Los Angeles. You's about to get a hurricane. Do they have hurricanes? Southern California doesn't have hurricanes, do they? Here, let me show you this. This is a pretty crazy cone here. Tropical Storm Hillary has been upgraded to a hurricane. Hurricane Hillary rapidly strengthens with significant is in quotations, significant impacts expected in California and the Southwest. Heavy rain associated with Hurricane Hillary is also expected to impact California and the Southwest starting Friday and lasting through early next week, with peak impacts expected Sunday and Monday. Don't need that. All right, so here, I'll show you a picture of it. Actually, this is a stupid picture. I should just show you the real picture of it. You just go to Google Maps. Yeah.
After rapid intensification this morning,
so, as you can see, it seems to be spinning off the course of Mexico. They say they predict the numbers behind the storm.
We're expecting this warm water movement just about 300 miles off the coast of Mexico, and so more strengthening is expected out of Hillary. Looking at what we've got in from the National Weather Service here, it looks like the 11 advisory is going to put us up 10 miles per hour, up to 85 miles an hour. You look at barely any pressure change here.
I like it on these Google Maps.
But when you diagnose the storm's details over the next 24 hours, Stephen Morgan, I want to bring you in on this. We're expecting it to rapidly intensify, but we could see on the backside of this a rapid weakening. So big changes and swings in this.
Stop sharing that one because we don't care. I mean, is this a thing? I do not ever recall there being a hurricane in Los Angeles. I mean, I know that they come inside the Gulf, but aren't they usually on like the other side of Mexico? Don't they come in through the Gulf and, hit Brownsville and Mexico from that coast, and then they hit, Houston and all, and sometimes, roll towards New Orleans? I thought that was the side of Mexico that got the hurricanes. I don't remember there ever being a hurricane in Los Angeles or San Diego or Baja California before. I mean, I might be wrong. Right here, this is the current current look from space. Look at that thing. I mean, that's pretty big, man. It's nothing. It's blue water, and then a hurricane with a little bit of a tail there. Let me see if we can move it even closer. Yeah, all right, there we go. So we're a little bit closer here now. We can see it. It looks like I don't see it. This is where we all pretend like we're weather experts. I don't see a defined eye at the moment, but that could rapidly change given the nature of these conditions. That I was just rant. See, look, I could totally fake it being a weather guy. Anyway, there you go. So keep an eye on that. It's a big story today. Hurricane Hillary making its way towards LA. We got a blue alert. This is did you get a blue alert on your phone? I got this late last night. Maybe it was I don't know when it was. I think I noticed it this morning. Down there in Houston, there was a Harris County Sheriff's deputy who was shot during a traffic stop. The blue alert goes out. Blue alert means an officer involved. Officer's been shot and they're looking for the people who did it. Kind of like an amber alert or a silver alert. Why stop? We should have alert, I get it. Blue alert remains for gunman accused of shooting deputy during traffic stop in Northeast Harris County. Authorities identified the deputy as 29-year-old Joseph Anderson, who underwent surgery and is now reportedly in stable condition. It says an intense manhunt continues for the gunman wanted in the shooting of Harris County Sheriff's deputy during a traffic stop in Northeast Harris County on Wednesday. Authorities identified the suspects accused of shooting the deputy as 34-year-old. Now listen to this. 34-year-old Taryn Green. He's described as a black man, 5'4", 180 pounds. 5'4", 180 pounds. That's a hobbit. This cop pulled over a hobbit. And then the other guy, who was the other guy they're looking for? Was it 5'4", 180? Anyway, where's the info on the other guy? The other guy, there's two guys. The other guy that they're looking for is like 5'6", 170. It's like they're hobbits. Little guys are always angry. They always got a chip, and you don't expect it to go this far. It is great news that the officer is out of danger. All right, yeah. So here are the two guys. Taryn Green. We're looking for Taryn Green. Let's put their pictures up. Why not? Yeah. Sometimes I feared dead air, so sometimes I make noises. It's okay. It hurts no one. All right, there we go. All right, so here, these are the two guys. Let's take a look at these hobbits, these urban hobbits. Didn't know they existed in the wild, but they were discovered by a Harris County police officer. And all right, so look at these two freaks. All right, so you got Taryn Green, 34 years old. He's 5'4" and 180 pounds. That's a bowling ball. 5'4". Okay, so I'm 6 foot even, right? In my peak weight, I'm supposed to be like 182. At 6 foot, for me to be in shape, I'm supposed to be like 182. This dude is 5'4" and 180 pounds. This guy, that's like the other guy. Look at the other guy. The other guy's 37. His name is James Green. Oh, are they brothers? Let's go with their brothers. They're brothers. This guy's 5'6", 168. There you go. A couple of hobbits running around out there shooting police officers. Again, the most important thing that we learned here is they're still on the loose and they are being sought. And officer, I'm sorry, I want to get his name, and wouldn't be cool to just Joe Anderson. That's it. Officer Deputy Joseph Anderson is out of surgery and in stable condition. So that's good news. That's good news. All right. What else is trending today? Mortgage rates. Everybody's freaking out. Mortgage rates are feared to possibly rise to an unheard of level, 8%. That's what they're saying. God, there ain't nobody going to be able to buy no houses. We got the housing glut. I thought the housing market was good. Thought people were buying. You know how you stop that? You raise the mortgage rates. So a lot of people are concerned about that. Mortgage rates predicted to hit 8%. That's got a lot of people freaking out. Maui, of course, Maui. We got to talk about Maui. The story's been talking about this for a few days. Wildfires there. 111 people, at least. They're saying at least 111 people have been killed in these fires. Many of them. Here's a little happiness for you. Many of them kids. Which, this world. Anyway, here's kind of an issue that's going on. Well, hold on. Let me X out of this before this starts to make all kinds of crazy noise. There we go. So we touched on this a little bit, but now it's becoming part of the everyday discussion. And what that is what is the role of tourists? What is the role of the person who has been dreaming of going to Hawaii for 10 years? They got the tickets for Christmas. They got a plane ticket. They've been talking about it for months, except, Maui's not in great shape. And there's a whole lot of sadness going on. Not a festive time, certainly, to be enjoying Hawaiian hospitality. So there's an issue, right? So the state needs tourists. The state's the state's got nothing without tourism. The state needs tourism. And they're big, it's their whole thing. It's Hawaii. People go to Hawaii. Come on, let's get these landlocked losers over here and charge them $5 for a can of Pepsi. That's what they do. But they don't okay, so there's a lot of homeless people now. A lot of people lost homes. So the resorts in Lahaina town are basically giving rooms to the people of the town to come and stay. They're giving away rooms of tourists, and they're trying to make good with it. And some of the resorts in the most heavily affected areas have now started requesting that people don't come. Don't go. Could you imagine that? You've been saving your whole... They're not saying they'll give you a refund or anything like that. They're just saying, if you can afford to take a hit on this vacation by not coming and just blowing that money, do that. The governor, however, the governor of Hawaii is taking a more measured tone. What he's asking is he's simply asking for people who have vacation plans in the affected areas, which there's a whole lot of Hawaii, which, is still okay, for those people to please help a brother out and try and switch your hotel rooms. All right. So all of this comes because there was apparently some big fashion photo shoot, a mile from where they were digging children's bodies out of the ashes of burnt gift shops. There was a photo shoot. There was a bunch of people. They had docked a yacht and they were doing all of these pictures on the beach and it's just, here's the thing. I was raised by someone with impeccable taste. I was raised by somebody who not only knew right from wrong, but made sure that I understood the basics of right and wrong at a molecular level. I would never do that. You see, there are people who were raised that certain way who go, I don't know, we should be popping champagne, cranking Cardi B songs, and, taking pictures of scantily clad women. At least not while we have to make sure our lens doesn't accidentally capture a dead child, right? Who goes through with this? Yeah, people who make money, the sole center of their life. Well, we paid for this photo shoot and we can't get it back. So if we don't make publishing with these pictures, just go and try not to get in the way. No. This is like one of those moments where humans have to be human, and they have to go, wow. Yeah, I know we watched it on TV and we watched all these people go through this horrible thing, and we clutched our pearls and went, oh, those poor people. But I'm still going on vacation. I'm still going to complain to the front desk when my room service is late because the room service staff has been cut in half because half of them are dead. I'm still going to complain. Look, I'm sorry about... Yes, I understand that this is a different time here at the Lahaina Town Hilton, but I paid for this trip, and I want that club sandwich delivered to my room pronto. This is my vacation. I understand people, weddings and all that. How incredible. Because, brides are always reasonable. Brides can always be reasoned to do the right thing at the expense of their big day. Yeah, it's just, so... Basically, most people are just saying, Don't book it. Don't go there now. Like the governor is saying, hey, give us a few months. We'll get this place looking great. It'll be, because they have to play both sides. Because there's no way that any elected official or anybody that cashes a check in Hawaii is going to go, we don't want tourists. But what they're trying to say, read between the lines, they don't want tourists right now. Just leave those places alone. All right, so that's the big conversation happening now in Maui. This is good. This is interesting because we follow this, right? So one of the things that we don't do on the show is we don't do politics. We don't get into the divisive nonsense. But a very interesting poll was taken by Fox News. And that's why this poll is actually making so much news. They ran a poll, and I guess it had something to do with these Trump indictments among Fox News viewers. And let me see the numbers here, because I think the numbers are interesting. The question was essentially, hold on, let me make sure we get the question right, because it changes the whole metric. Majority of voters think Trump did something illegal, according to a Fox News poll. Okay, so that's interesting because that's Fox News, and Fox News has been accused by the Trump side of things of, sort of being anti-Trump, yet their viewership is cranking. They claim that they're doing fine. Their numbers, we got some new numbers that we're going to go through today, because yesterday we went through the indictment night numbers. When we said that the indictment night ratings for cable news channels, those would be interesting to look at, because that attracts people who don't typically watch cable news. So let's see all the people who don't watch cable news. Let's see what they choose as their source of information on this, the night of the indictment, because that's what they're all looking for. And MSNBC, with that more liberal, they stomped everybody. So the people who are interested in putting on the news, they won that night. So now we should look at tonight or the next night, right, to see if it went back to normal. And we'll cover that later, because there's some interesting things that happen there as well. Let me see here. In a recent Fox News poll, a majority of registered voters, 53%, said they think, so this is a Fox News poll, and it's registered voters. So registered voters can be either, but I think if it's Fox viewers, it's probably going to be very slanted. These will be almost primarily Republican-leaning voters, as if it were over on MSNBC, it would be the other way. The survey released Wednesday also found that 20% of registered voters think that Trump did something wrong, but not necessarily illegal. All right, that's interesting. Okay, so that's the Trump poll that's going around here, or it's actually being called the Fox News poll, which brings us to our next story. Our next story concerns, where is this guy? Yes, okay. The next story concerns the judge who has been drawn to host the crazy Georgia indictment trial, the Fani Willis one. This is the one that we just got this week. Every time it's like a lottery. It's like, which judge is going to get it? Man, I got a problem with this judge. I got a real problem with the judge. Okay, so a lot of people have problems with the judge. I don't really claim to be one side or the other, but just from where I stand in the middle, my problem with this judge probably has nothing to do with other people's problems. People on the right, the Trump side, they got a problem with this judge. They got a problem with him because he's very tight with Brian Kemp. He's very tight with Brian Kemp, and he's very tight with a couple of the other Republican state elected officials in Georgia who, so he's a conservative. Like, he's a conservative Republican judge. They're just not Trump judges. Like, they're just not. Like, Brian Kemp supported Trump and all that kind of stuff, but then when he didn't do what Trump asks, they fell, now Brian Kemp's a bad guy. I don't know, whatever. It's so complicated to keep up. But this judge is apparently seen by the Trump people as being, he's just like Kemp. He's not going to give him a fair trial. So that's what they're saying. I don't know what the left people are saying. I don't know. I tune everybody out equally, but I'm not sure what that is. But here's my problem. Here's my problem with this judge. Judge Scott McAfee is his name. He's too young. He's too young. He's only been a judge for 6 months. And he's 34 years old. He's 34 years old. He's only been a judge for 6 months, and he's being put in charge of one of American history's most important trials ever. Yes, all of these, the trial, the indictment trial, the criminal trial of a president brought by a state, which is interesting because, This is a different kind of charge than the one that was brought in New York. He's too young for this. He's not ready for it. 34 years old, only been a judge 6 months. He's going to get one of the biggest things. No. And also, if you're familiar with my rantings, you'll also know that I have a problem. You know me. I don't mean to get all medieval or even draconian, but I would like to establish, I would like the Supreme Court gone. Get rid of the Supreme Court. I would like a council of elders. I know how it sounds. Sounds crazy. But here's my thinking behind this. And this judge, the judge of, first of all of the Trump trials should be overseen by a judge. And I don't care, male, female, that's fine. You can be a male or female. But I don't want anybody under 80 listening to these charges. I want an 80-year-old person. Here's why. And again, you may be familiar with this rant. An 80-year-old knows of their own mortality. They know that this is their moment to start doing right. You know who doesn't do right? A 45-year-old. You know who doesn't do right? A 34-year-old. You know who doesn't do right? Someone in their 50s who still think they got one last crack to really make it. An 80-year-old judge, my council of elders, an 80-year-old judge, they just see stupid shit. They know that they're like, yes, I'm going to be corrupt on this because then I'll get some money. And these are like old men. Old men already have their money. I want people in positions, any position where important decisions need to be made from this point forward in the United States of America needs to be made by a rich old man who isn't interested in making any more money, who is just trying to get back into heaven after years of whatever it is. That's my theory. My theory is that older people on really important issues can bring a degree of partisanship or bipartisanship and maybe like a life experience. I don't know. I just want here's what a 34-year-old guy who's been a judge for 6 months is thinking. Man, I'm about to become the most popular judge in the world, man. I'm going to be 34 years old. I don't need this. I'll go to Hollywood. I'll be the new Judge Wapner. Hey, they're going to do a new reboot of People's Court with me. That's what this dude is thinking, 34 years old. 34 years old, I make my name here. Hell, I can be governor by the time I'm 40, president of the United States by the time I'm 44. That's what a 34-year-old who's only been a judge for 6 months is thinking. This is an opportunity for me. I want a judge to oversee this trial that doesn't see it that way. It doesn't see it as this is an opportunity for me to make some really important connections in the name for myself so that my later life, I'm living the comfy life. That we can't have that. Council of elders. I want a council of elders. I want a bunch of old people in dark robes. Yeah, we can use tiki torches. All of that. Big room, tiki torches, dark robes, like, I don't know what, 9 of them. How many Supreme Court justices do we have? And I don't see them as council of elders because there's a lot of Supreme Court justices. And by the way, you can turn over the council of elders all the time because they're going to die. See, that's the whole thing. We're constantly getting new blood, new decision-making techniques and all that stuff. There's constant turnover on them because we get a lot of old people. We all get old. That's my thought. And that's why, Your Honor, and that's why I would like you to recuse yourself in this case, Your Honor. Thank you. I rest. He's too young. He's just too young. 34 years old. He's only been he's had like 2 trials. He's been judge for like 6 months. Judge Scott McAfee, about to become one of the most famous judges on the planet at 34 years old. The guy who's going to decide Trump's fate goes home and plays Mortal Kombat. I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding. I mean, I don't know that for a fact. He's 34. This judge is a gamer. Can we get any closer to idiocracy? Seriously. I don't know that he's a gamer. He's 34 years old. I'm assuming he's a gamer. I'm assuming he unwinds by going home, and he's probably got some really, because he's a judge now. He's 34. He's a judge, so he's got cool stuff. So he's probably got this cool like gamer room. I'm not ready for like important people to have cool gamer rooms. You know why? Because that means the younger generation behind me have now climbed to the level of important people. And I'm not important, and they're younger than me, and that makes me upset. All right, let's keep moving. Hey, here's something that's fun, if not completely absurd. The International Chess, the governing body, I don't even know what this is, like the NFL or the Premier League of chess. Yeah. They've banned trans competitors. yeah, chess. Chess won't let. So I guess there's a dude who was a chess player. It's the story. There's a dude who was a chess player, still a chess player, no longer a dude, wants to keep playing, and they said no, which is fascinating. That's just the story. I got the story here. I won't click on it. I don't want to click on it. I don't want to get any of the nonsense, because all I can tell you is that there is no reasonable justification to ban somebody from playing in chess, unless you think that men are just better chess players than women. Is that a thing? Is misogyny like that? Is misogyny a thing in chess? I don't know. I just think this is such a funny story. They've banned, the World Chess Organization have banned transgender. Don't even call them athletes. You're competitors. There you go. That's fine. They call them competitors. Don't want them to call them an athlete. You're doing chess. And nobody cares about chess. What an asshole thing to do. Nobody cares about your stupid game. You just put this out, what? To be mean? I don't know. You just like, let's be mean to people for no reason. Because it's silly. Like, look, I'm on the side. I am on the side of people who have a real problem with transgendered men, or no, transgender women. Again, it's very complicated, and we have to be respectful because we care about our fellow human. People who are born a man, and then look, let's take this example. So someone born a man and, gets into mixed martial arts and then, decides I want to be a trans woman, and they become a woman, and they're like, but I still want to do mixed martial arts. That person should not be allowed to fight other women, because I guess when push comes to shove on this issue, and I'm fairly tolerant, but I think when push comes to shove in those specific situations, I go, I don't know. There is a biological difference between men and women, and biological differences are sometimes the edge that one needs in an athletic competition against another person, a little physical advantage. So I don't know. So I got a problem with this issue. I think is a very real issue, and it's a serious conversation that I think reasonable people can have about advantages or believed advantages of athletes who transition. And you got people born a man who are transitioned to a woman, now competing against girls, so that's a problem. But not in chess. This should not be a thing, chess. You people should be like, all right, yeah, whatever. You just don't want a bunch of chicks to beat you. That's what it is. Chess dudes don't get laid as it is. And they don't want now. They have absolutely no options with women, and they don't want the only women options to be, you know what I mean? Maybe that's it. Maybe they're afraid, after the chess match, sitting around in the hotel bar, start getting flirtatious with, maybe that's it. But chess people are nerds. This is stupid. It seems like there's absolutely no reason for this to even have been considered by the chess organization. Here's something fun, huh? Who wants, hey, cue the Huey Lewis music. I want a new drug, one that won't make me sick. There's a new drug out there, and it isn't in America yet, but is it coming? Wait till you hear about this new drug. I'm not kidding. It is a new drug. It's basically cocaine, except it's super cheap, and it ain't crack. It ain't dirty like crack. Like crack, the whole process of crack seems very dirty. And I think maybe that's because whenever I see people like depicted as smoking crack, they're always like smoking it out of a crack pipe that has obviously been used before. I think maybe if you could just get a clean or new crack pipe every time, it might not look quite as skanky. But every time you see it, it's like skanky, like garbage people. It's gross. So crack ain't good, but do I want to try crack? Sure I do. And do I have plans to try crack? Not in the immediate future. But crack is definitely like one of them things. I keep saying, I don't know whether it's 75 or 80. It keeps getting older. But on one of my birthdays, I'm going to do heroin. Like I'm going to try one of my like old guy birthdays. I'm going to be like, I'm going to see why all of these people, I just, because everybody says, oh, it's euphoric. Okay. So I want to try it. Although I also understand you get really sick afterwards. So I may in the moment reconsider it and be like, I don't want to get a tummy ache because I am a wuss. But I'm around that time, I might try crack too. As a matter of fact, crack doesn't give you a stomach ache. So maybe I'll do crack instead. Although that's not the euphoric high that they talk about with heroin that I'm always like, I want to try heroin. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, there's a new drug and here's what it's called. And boy, does it have a crazy story behind it. It's called Captagon. Captagon. I want a new drug. It's called Captagon. What does Captagon do? Captagon is a pill and it's cocaine. It's basically, instead of sniffing it, instead of smoking it, it's a pill. And you just take the pill and it gives you all the same effects of cocaine. It's basically a cocaine pill. And here's why it's spreading. Here's why people are loving it. One, it's $3 a pill. Super cheap. Now, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know a whole lot about cocaine. But like $3 a pill. Like, here's what I do know about cocaine. I mean, I've been around it. I was in Dallas. I've been to parties. I've done it. It's, I know that people who do cocaine, the big problem is they constantly need more. So do you constantly need more pills? And I don't understand. Anyway, the pill is called Captagon. The reason that it's becoming popular is because there is like no risk of the fentanyl issue. Like fentanyl is used to cut cocaine so that there's more powder for people to sniff. This is not that. This isn't a pill. So for that reason, one, it is taken off in the Middle East and now Europe. Now, where'd this pill come from? Syrian dictator Assad. Yeah, this is how Assad is feeling. Assad's been cut off from the entire world, basically. He's almost like, North Korea at this point. Nobody will deal with him. So he has turned into a global drug dealer. He's basically a pharma dictator now. And he seized all these opium fields and he's got all these coca things going and he's created this product and it has been used to fund both the Syrian situation that's going on there and Hezbollah. So this pill is a combination between, like you got Eli Lilly Pharmaceuticals. Well, this is like Assad Hezbollah pharmaceutical company. Europe is bracing for the possible influx of a drug that's hooked the Middle East and East Asia as political shifts and crackdowns in the Gulf spur producers in Syria and Lebanon to tap new markets. Selling for around $3 per tablet, the amphetamine-type pill Captagon is primarily produced and trafficked by individuals and groups tied to Syrian President Bashar al-Assad and his ally, the Lebanese militia Hezbollah. This is according to the United States State Department and Treasury, as well as the UK's Foreign Office, as well as independent researchers. Already popular, we're talking about Captagon, a new drug. Already popular in parts of the Middle East with everyone from teenagers to low-income construction workers, the narcotic is easy to make, called the poor man's cocaine. It's reported to trigger bursts of energy and productivity, wakefulness, euphoria, as well as delusions and a sense of invincibility. That's cocaine. That is cocaine. Cocaine in a pill form. Well, what will they think of next? The drug has also been associated with militants in Iraq and Syria. Two leading researchers at the think tank New Lanes estimated that Captagon has generated business worth as much as $10 billion over the past 3 years, with most of the revenue benefiting Assad's inner circle and allies, who remain heavily sanctioned by the West over their bloody quelling of Syria's 2011 uprising. So there you go, kids. If you're out in that discotheque and somebody offers you something new, say, why is that Captagon? I've heard of that because I listened to the High Noon Report. Captagon. I'm intrigued. I mean, I want to do it. Here's the thing about me and that stuff. That kind of stuff. I have no interest in any kind of amphetamine. Don't give me no meth. Don't even. Hell, I can handle a cup and a half of coffee. But, my soda, I even drink caffeine-free soda. I'm just not interested in, getting my heart going to. No, not anymore. No, thank you. But for you kids out there just coming up, there you go. Maybe a fentanyl-safe alternative to cocaine. Captagon. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, here in Texas, this is funny. Okay, so we got this kookster here in the state of Texas. The rest of the country knows him too. He's a funny guy. His name's Ken Paxton. I don't even know what he does. He's been impeached. He doesn't do what he does. He's not allowed to even go to his office. And he's like attorney general. What is he? I don't even know. I think he is. Yeah, he is. He's the attorney general. And he's been impeached because he did some stuff, and we don't have to go into all that. But his trial in the Texas State House is set for the 5th of September. So it's starting to ramp up for that. And there's all kinds of stuff coming out now like this. And this is a weird story. It turns out that him and this other dude were using a fake Uber account. They created a fake name and they tied it to some Venmo thing. I don't know, whatever. They created this fake Uber account. Ken Paxton, the attorney general, and his buddy, whoever this guy is. This other guy is also indicted on all kinds of things. So apparently they run together and they get into all kinds of nonsense. Well, this Uber account that these guys used apparently was exclusively used to go to one location and back for both of them. And that's the location of are you ready for it? Because this is totally normal for two best friends. Their shared mistress. That's right. Ken Paxton, Attorney General of the great state of Texas. One of the new things being revealed about the investigation into his nonsense. He and his best friend were both cheating on their wives. He and his best friend, anyway, it doesn't matter. He and his best friend were in a relationship with the same woman at the same time, and they used to share a fake Uber account to and from her place. Okay, first of all, can we stop for a second? Okay, why are we being nice? I don't understand this. I think we're using the wrong words here. They had the same mistress. Why are you being so nice? That's not a thing. They don't have the same mistress. They use the same prostitute. That's what this is. Well, they're not streetwalkers. No, there are high-end call girl prostitutes that powerful men. I hope I'm not bursting any of your bubbles. I know a whole bunch of these situations. There are kept women, like two guys. Maybe we'll use it in this case. We'll just use these guys. All right, so you got Ken Paxton, the other guy. Yeah, they're at the steakhouse, laughing, drinking, good times. Hot little waitress. Hey, how about I pay your rent for the next 3 years? And that's how it happens. If you think that doesn't happen, you aren't really out in the real world. Happens all the time. I know 3 people, not currently, just one currently, who are paying rents for girls that they're having sex with, and they are not in a relationship. That's basically prostitution, if you ask me. So that's weird. But they're calling them mistress. Paxton used fake Uber name Dave P. for secret meetings with his mistress. New filings allege. Yeah, they allege other things too, that the same mistress was being used by the other guy. Ugh, creepy. People just, again, I don't know. What is with his, does he have, did he have a stroke or something? Isn't half his face, does he have a lazy eye or something? Is that all it is? Because if it's something more than, whatever. But my God, you can't look at this guy and go, he's up to all kinds of stuff. How can you not see that? Why? Because he says stuff that you like to hear. Because, you want it, you like it, he says things, and you're like, I like what he says. So you completely clouded. Me, I don't give a shit either way. I look at him and I go, oh, that guy, you don't trust that guy. But too many people are willing to. And now he's sharing a mistress and a phony Uber account with his best friend. Jeez Louise. This is the attorney general of the great state of Texas. What a disgusting, get him out of here. Get some, have an old point another good conservative attorney general. But get this guy out of here. What's the matter with you? I mean, this is absurd. Nobody's defending him too either, which is a bad sign. Everybody's like, yeah, we kind of agree with you, Pugs. We're just going to sweep him out of here. All right, what else is happening here? Oh, this is a fun story. Do you see this guy that's all of a sudden a thing? He's like all of a sudden a thing down there in Argentina. His name is... where is it? What is it? Javier Milei. Have you seen this guy? So this guy is like lighting up Oh no, gotta get it. This guy is like lighting up the Argentinian presidential race down there. Let me pull you up. You got to see this guy. This guy's awesome. All right, his name is Javier Milei, and he's like some kind of an economist or something. But what people love about him is like he's got crazy hair. Now, this is him now. This is him like within the last couple of days. He's running for president down there in Argentina. He's popular. He's shocking a lot of people. He's an economist. He's like an anarchist. He's all kinds of crazy things. So this is how he's looking now because he's winning. So they put him in a suit and stuff. But I want to show you how he looked while he was campaigning. We'll scroll through some. His hair is nuts. Look at his hair. We got to stop with crazy people having crazy hair, making big decisions. If you can't make a big decision about your hair to go out and not look like a weirdo, I don't think you should be choosing anything more than maybe what we watched tonight. I'll give you that. Person with crazy, interesting hair might have good taste in TV, but nothing else. Look at him, he's got a crazy zoot suit on. All right, wait, come on. Where's the picture of him? He's always walking around in his leather jacket and his T-shirt. Look at that hair. What is going on with this guy's hair? This is, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Future Argentinian President Javier Milei. That's how he usually wears the leather jacket and looks like that. That's how I typically have seen him now, but they changed him. See, they're fixing him. They're trying to make him wear a suit. Don't change that hair, man. That's his brand. Javier Milei. Can't even pronounce it. Future president of Argentina. That's why they're talking about him today online. Here's another one that's being talked about. Oh, can we take a minute here? I don't know how many of you have a fantasy world leader girlfriend, but I do. I have a fantasy world leader girlfriend. Me and this lady have been in a relationship now for a couple of years. She has no idea. I'm quite happy with it. She's a doll. We've talked about her before. Of course, I'm talking about the former. That's right. She left her job. I like to think she left it for me. She left her job in June. Former Prime Minister of Finland, the wonderful Sanna Marin. Oh my God, this girl. So Sanna Marin, maybe remember, she made a lot of headlines, around the world because she was like 35 and she was Prime Minister of Finland and she's really cute. And she's like, she's kind of a party girl. She's got some Kim Kardashian in her. It's like if you made Kim Kardashian, not like the big, she's not like overtly sexual, but I mean like sort of like she's kind of more Instagram model than, world leader, I guess. Although a lot of people liked her, she was pretty popular. She's still there in the Finnish. They got a weird parliament. She's still a member of parliament, but she's no longer prime minister. She got in trouble, or at least she first came to our attention because remember she was caught partying during COVID. COVID was going on, and she had like basically locked down the country. And then there was like pictures of her on the weekend, like partying and making out with some dude at a dance club. And I'm like, that's a world leader. I have been in clubs where you're just talking to girls, and that has never been a world leader. So Sanna Marin is making headlines again because now that she is no longer the prime minister, she has embarked on what she's calling her hot girl summer. And I am all for it. That's right. Ooh, that was loud. Why was that so loud? What happened? There we go. Hot girl summer for former Finnish Prime Minister Sanna Marin. All right, so I want to show you what she's doing. You know what she's doing? She's traveling with a whole bunch of her gal pals. She's traveling like all over Europe and going to all these music festivals. And she's dressing like a festival girl. And oh my God, she's a world leader. All right, here you go. Here she is. This is my pretend fantasy girlfriend, Sanna Marin, former Prime Minister of Finland. God, I want to do that. Look at her. Look at her there. This is her at some, where is this one? I don't know. Some festival there. Probably in Iceland or something. She's just traveling. She's just having a hot girl summer. And she's posting all this stuff on her Instagram. And her Instagram's blowing up. And now the media's going, look at her having fun. There she is. There. Look at that outfit. Look at her. Oh, do you know how badly I want to, I don't know. Like I want to go to dinner with Dr. Schwartz, whoever he's dating now. And it would be like, Schwartz, of course, you know my girlfriend, former Finnish Prime Minister Sanna Marin. I want to do that so bad. I want to do that. Look at her. Man, she's cute. And look at her. She's got a great sense of fashion. Any other pictures? Oh, look at her here. Okay, so she's on the right. She's with some dude, some dork. And she's like, I'm just a girl, but I'm also on a first name basis with Vladimir Putin. That's crazy. That's just crazy. Man, she's got a future. There she is. All right, looking good, sweetie. I have no doubt. All right, I don't like how the tank top in this one is dripping a little bit low. Wait, which one is her? Oh my God, this is terrible news for me. I can't tell me. She's my fantasy girlfriend, and I can't tell that girl doesn't even look. These two girls don't even look that much alike. Okay, it's the one on the left. She's pink. She's in the pink. That's my girl. Former Finnish. Yeah, there she is again. Look at her. Look how cute she is. She has fun. She has fun, and she joined NATO. Yes. So, like, we'll be sitting there at dinner with Schwartz and his girlfriend, and his girlfriend might talk about, like, yeah, so I just joined this, like, really good spin class at my gym. And then, like, I'll go, oh, that's interesting because Sana just did something very different, similarly, didn't you, when you just joined NATO? I want this. I want this in my fantasy world. All right, there you go. Anyway, that's why Sanna Marin was trending. I don't know if she still is. She was earlier today. And I'm always up for a good former Finnish Prime Minister Sanna Marin segment. All right, let's talk about Barbie. Why not? We just talked about a Barbie world leader. Let's talk about Barbie the movie. Barbie the movie. This is a nonsense story. This story doesn't mean anything. This is a story. This is a misleading story. The story here talks about how Barbie is now the highest box office film in Warner Brothers history, surpassing The Dark Knight. But it didn't. And then you read the article and it explains how it didn't. But if you're just, if you're just going to go with the headline, then yeah, you would think that Barbie has made more money already than The Dark Knight, but it didn't. Barbie becomes biggest Warner Brothers movie ever at domestic box office, beating The Dark Knight. Greta Gerwig's movie, based on the world's most iconic fashion doll, keeps dancing past one record after another. Except, you see, it didn't dance past any record here. You're just playing with numbers. You're being disingenuous with numbers. Because, you see, here's the problem. Barbie's haul, as of Tuesday, brought her domestic total. Barbie movie has made $537 million at the domestic box office. That's the American. That's not worldwide. That's American. So Barbie, as of Tuesday, made $537 million. Okay, The Dark Knight, in its initial first run, made $536 million. But that was in 2008. It's not 2008 anymore. It was almost 20 years ago. Do you know what the rate of inflation is? So I went and I did the math. And I looked it up, that this is not adjusted. It says right here, not adjusted for inflation. That's where the story tells on itself. The story with the headline wants to be like, look at Barbie taking down that guy movie, The Dark Knight, because girl power. Like, that's the whole vibe of the story. But then in parentheses, it says, not adjusted for inflation. You know why you didn't adjust it for inflation? Because in the first run of The Dark Knight, had you adjusted it for inflation, it wouldn't be beaten by the number 537, which Barbie put up. Barbie's put up 537. The Dark Knight, adjusted for inflation, did 750 adjusted for inflation. So stop it. Stop. Barbie's going to do fine. Get back to me when its first run is over and you have totals. If Barbie, which is now at 537, the numbers are declining because people have already seen it and they need to make room in the theater, so it's going to go away. So the initial run is about to come to an end. I don't think Barbie at 537 now is going to get to 750. So this story is just a total lie. So at the end of the day, the movie that's still, because that's the question, right? What movie made Warner Brothers the most money? What movie was the most profitable for Warner Brothers? It ain't Barbie. Barbie's second. Maybe it'll go to first. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's got a couple more weeks left in it. I don't know. I still haven't seen it, but I'm not going to see it. I'll see it when it's, on Netflix or something. There you have it. Okay, so that's the Barbie movie. Big Lion story. They didn't adjust it for inflation. You got to adjust for inflation. Why, my grandfather has more money in the bank than Andrew Carnegie did in 1870. Well, yeah, because, 1870 money is not the same as 2023 money. But trust me, your grandpa isn't richer in his time than Andrew Carnegie was in his time. I don't know of any place in New York City called Grandpa Hall, okay? But I've heard of the other place, the Carnegie place. Cable news. We wanted to check on this because they put the numbers out for the night after the indictment. Since the story the day after the indictment was cable news choices. Where are people? Where are the wishy-washy going? People who don't watch cable news. Where do they go when there's a big news story? In other words, what perspective are they looking for? Are they looking for the slanted liberal perspective of MSNBC, or were they looking for the slanted conservative perspective of Fox News? And after Monday night, the results were pretty overwhelming. MSNBC destroyed the night. Now, again, we know that those numbers that they hauled in, those are not everyday MSNBC watchers. Those are people who are typically watching Grey's Anatomy, but they recognize that as a historical day, so they thought they'd check out some cable news commentary. So that's what that was. So now you want to look at the next day. So you want to look at the next day when the water's gone back to the baseline level. And you want to see what the numbers are, and you want to see if there are any significant gains for MSNBC. Can MSNBC turn a one-night juggernaut into something else? And the answer is decidedly no, maybe. Okay, so here's how it was. So the Maddow show on indictment night, the Maddow show on MSNBC did 3 times. It did more than twice. It did 3 times Hannity. It did more than twice the combined audience of CNN and MSN, or CNN and Fox News. That's huge. Think about that. That more people were watching MSNBC than were watching CNN and Fox News combined. That's big. Okay, so they had that. But here was the next day. So the next day, did that stick? The number 1 show in cable news for the next day, and a return to normalcy, Fox's 5, with 2.7 million viewers. However, then it gets a little dicey, because then the next one is MSNBC's O'Donnell at 2.2. Then it's MSNBC's Melber at 2.4. Then it's MSNBC's Wallace at 1.99. Then you got something called a Gutfeld. Is that that's probably a person. Fox's Gutfeld. And then it's all MSNBC. And then you get to the very bottom, like Waters where's Ingram? There's Chris Hayes. There's Wagner. It's all MSNBC with the top numbers. However, the number 1, the biggest single audience for a show was won by Fox, and it was the 5. And that's, isn't that like an evening show where all the old people are having their dinner? Is that why they tune in? I don't know. Jake Tapper. Jake Tapper and CNN. 867,000 people tuned in. That's it. That's the 800. That's nothing. That's nothing. Remember, Rachel Maddow, I don't know what the numbers were the other night, but Rachel Maddow dominated with like 8 million like the night before. It was big, probably bigger than that, actually, now that they mention it. I don't have the numbers. I was just freeballing on that number. Forget the 8 million. I don't know. I'd have to consider it. I don't remember what the numbers were. They were big, though. Somebody died. Somebody died today. Somebody died. We got to talk about him. Jerry Moss. Jerry Moss died, 88 years old. Who's Jerry Moss? Who's Jerry Moss, Pugs? I have no idea who Jerry Moss is. Jerry Moss is one of the most important music industry executives in the history of the game, man. This dude did a lot of innovative stuff. I used to be obsessed. In the early 90s, I was managing bands, and I got really obsessed with like the histories of like the music industry. So I read all of these books about Armin Ertegun. Mansion on the Hill is one of my favorite books of all time about the music industry of the 1970s. Clive Davis, right? So I'm reading all of these incredible books. And Jerry Moss was one of the most interesting figures out of all of them. Jerry Moss died at 88 years old. He's the M in A&M Records. Like, we all know A&M Records, right? But we always think of it as, isn't that Herb Alpert? Isn't Herb Alpert? He formed A&M Records. I don't know who the M is. The M is Jerry Moss. Herb Alpert was a performer. He was always like, well, actually, that's not true, because Herb Alpert was an incredible producer as well. I shouldn't minimize him as just some dopey musician, because Herb Alpert was certainly more than that. But Jerry Moss, man, Jerry Moss was an innovator, and he's dead at 88 years old. He's responsible for almost all the cool music of the 80s. He gave the Police their big break. He gave, off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of A&M Records, and I can't. But that A&M Records is big. So Jerry Moss, keep a good thought for all the people who loved and cared about Jerry Moss and all of the music and stuff that Jerry Moss was behind making a part of our great American culture. Let's see. Do we have anything else? Yeah. So here's a local story that kind of pissed me off that I saw. I don't have the details on it, but I am looking at something that just came up. ESPN has put out their initial college football top 25 power rankings. We're not going to get into that, but it did remind me of something I heard this morning. So, like, SMU and TCU aren't going to be playing anymore in football after 2025. They're ending the iron skillet. As someone who lives on the campus of SMU, what is that? That sucks. That's like a really cool thing. TCU, really cool school out there in Fort Worth. SMU, really cool school here in Dallas. Both a bunch of rich kids, but both private schools filled with a bunch of rich kids. I mean, it was a great Dallas versus Fort Worth rivalry for years. I guess they said it goes back to like the 1950s. I would have thought it goes back even further than that, but still, that's great, man. What an incredible thing. Man, probably money. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know. I don't know why they would end it. Saw a similar thing happen with my Notre Dame Irish. Our biggest game of the year, like okay, I don't care. All the old head Notre Dame football fans, they're like, no, our rival is USC. And I'm like, no, it's not. USC is not our rival. We play them every year since 1910. I know we play them every year, and there's been some legendary games. They're not our rival. They're like halfway across the country. Notre Dame's rival is Michigan, and it always has been. And maybe to a lesser degree, Northwestern and Purdue, just because of proximity, because they're close to both of them. And Michigan stopped playing Notre Dame. Michigan didn't renew Notre Dame for their weekly. They played like every year since like 1895. It's one of those things. And then Michigan pulled out of it. And I'm like, that sucks. And now I'm seeing it again. This would be like, imagine the Red River Shootout. Still call it that because I'm not a baby. Imagine if like Oklahoma just decided they weren't going to play Texas anymore for like 5 years. Sorry, for 5 years, we decided that instead we're going to play the Mighty Ducks or whoever. Oregon. It wouldn't make any sense. It's like, why? So I don't understand. I know it obviously makes financial sense in some way, shape, or form, or they wouldn't be doing it. Somehow somebody thinks they can make more money not playing SMU. Or maybe it's somebody at SMU thinks that the school can make more money not play. I don't know. But that really sucks. Woke up to that bad news. I'm like, I always liked that little iron skillet thing. My son and I, was it last year or was it the year before? Whatever the last time it was here, there was big parties. We went to the tailgates. When you live on the campus of a college, when they have cool things, it's nice, cheap entertainment. And that was fun. I remember walking the camp. I remember walking from one end of the campus to the other with Mason. It was a beautiful fall day, and it was the day of the skillet, and everybody was dressed up, and there was all these people from Fort Worth and all these people from Dallas. And, it's not like Dallas and Fort Worth don't hate each other. They love each other, brother and sister. Dallas is a little bit more arrogant and stuck up, but it's not like, the rivalry is, no, fuck you, man. It's not like Bears-Packers or Cowboys-Eagles. It's not like that. So I don't know. Anyway, real bummer that they ended the. Frank says it's all about money for college football. TCU can't play an American Athletic Conference team unless SMU gets in the ACC. Yeah, I know it's all about that crazy stuff. Yeah. All right, guys, I think that's going to do it. I think we're going to be done with today's show tonight. I can tease you with this. Tonight on the Radio Misfits show, which is myself, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, Monday through, I'm sorry, we don't do Mondays for the next couple of weeks. For the next few weeks, it's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights, the Radio Misfits. Myself, James Parker, and E. I can tell you that E's going to bring some content tonight. We tease him all the time. We're like, bringing any content? And that's, by the way, just for you, the listener, that is entirely a joke. He is not expected to bring content. I bring enough content for everybody every day, and James does as well. E is just there because we enjoy his company, and he sometimes sparks us into being better. So, that's why you have someone. That's why you have a third. I always believe in the imbalance of a third when it comes to doing show chemistry. What do you mean by that, Pugs? Well, I'll tell you what I mean. When it's when it's just two people, and by the way, there are two people teams that have worked in radio. My partner Kelly and I guess you could say was a two-person team, but this is my point. No, we weren't. Just if it's only two people, if the only voices you hear are two people, that's going to get tedious because at some point these two people are going to disagree. And it's when they do disagree, they're going to dig in, and it's not going to be good. What you need is the imbalance. You need a third. You need somebody who doesn't really have a stake and who will decide. Not decide like, okay, I've issued my ruling, but just through the course of a casual conversation, the third may end up more in support of one person's argument than the other. That's the imbalance that is. I love it. Two guys picking on one guy defending himself. That's the purpose. Anyway, I enjoy an imbalance in radio shows, and that's what E brings. But tonight, he's going to have some content. He had a story. So y'all know that E, well, maybe y'all don't, but E is like a big muckety muck over at his kid's school. And by muckety muck, I mean he volunteers for everything. Like he wakes up at 7 a.m. and he's the carpool lane captain, right? So he's out there in his orange vest and he's like, come out. God, he's so involved. He's like just so I'm involved in anything. He had an incident with a fancy Highland Park mom today in the carpool lane. And oh my God, is he hot? He is mad. Yes. He called me today. I talked to him about 10 minutes before I went on the air. And he goes, I know you're going on the air. I go, what's going on with you? He's like, nah, it's just been a day. And he goes, I got into it with some lady at the school. And I go, oh, tell me about it. So he started telling me about it and he worked me up. And I'm like, okay, wait, that's good. That's all I want to know. I don't want to know anymore. We'll stop right there. You got to tell that tonight. And I'm like, that is content. That is what we're talking about. So we'll get that tonight on the Radio Misfits show. Thank you so much to everybody who joined us today. I'm not going anywhere. You know what? Let me jump over. Let's see if there's anything new. I've run through the prepared show. So let's just see if we've got anything new. I'm always so disappointed at the end of the show when I'm just trying to stay on. I'm trying to grind, find something else that we can talk about here since we're all here. I mean, why not? And then I go to Twitter and I'm like hoping that there's going to be like something on Twitter. And yeah, I still call it Twitter. And I'm hoping that there's something there that we can talk about a little bit. And there never is. By the way, did Twitter, how heavily invested in Twitter are Cheech and Chong at this point? Me and April would like to know. April in the chat room, her and I, why is April in my timeline, why is it just filled with Cheech and Chong ads? I've never done anything Cheech, Chong, or even marijuana related on Twitter or X or whatever the hell it's supposed to be called ever in my life. So I don't imagine these aren't like, oh, you've shown an interest in this. I've never shown an interest in weed online in any way, shape, or form. So why am I getting, are other people getting just inundated with Cheech and Chong ads on X? So I don't know what's going on there. They are just everywhere. Only 15 is trending. Now, I want to click on only 15. I have a sneaking suspicion that this might be about Wander Franco. The baseball player who may or may not have a 14-year-old pregnant girlfriend. Let me see. Does this have to do with Wander Franco? Nah, never mind. It's probably not. What's the latest on the Wander Franco thing? Oh, I did see something. I saw something, and I don't want to attribute that. Like, I'm not going to say I saw it from Buster Olney. I saw it from Jeff Pass, and I don't want to attribute this to any baseball Twitter guy, but it was in one of the baseball threads, and it was, I mean, it looked official, and it was a tweet by somebody who I think I recognize them as like a fairly established baseball tweeter, Xer, I don't know what we call him. And he said he had said in the tweet, he said, according to my sources inside Major League Baseball, it is looking less and less likely that Wander Franco will ever play Major League Baseball again. And that was it. That was just a cryptic tweet. Now, again, don't remember the name, but I do remember, like, when I read that, I looked at it, and I remember, I mean, I was doing a lot of things. I was putting the show together, and I wasn't going to talk about that because it doesn't seem, although here I am now talking about it. So, but I didn't commit it to memory. But I remember I glanced at it, and I looked at it, and I go, that's interesting. And then I always cite the source, right? I look to see, who's saying that? And then you weigh that person's reputation. That's why one's individual reputation, their principles, and their dedication, those things are important online, man. Anybody can say anything they want online, and people do. And that's why there's so much nonsense. You know what I'm going to do that I don't think I did earlier today? I didn't use much from Google Trends. So let's see what Google Trends says is happening in the world today. You know what I used an abnormal amount from? I think I got 3 stories today from the Drudge Report, which is a news site aggregator that I almost never use. I always check. It's one of the ones that I check every day. And I'd say I use maybe one story maybe, but I think I used like 3 or 4 Drudge Report stories. I remember as I'm putting them together, I'm like, Jesus, why don't I just read the Drudge Report on the air today? I also, people interested, I use MSN. I use AP. AP is great. The AP news site is great. What else do I use? I don't know. Whatever. All right, let's see here. What is trending right now? Let's get the hottest trends of the moment. We'll run through these. We want real time. We don't want that phony time. We want real time. Apparently, there's been a magnitude 6.1 earthquake in Colombia, Bogota. It's as of an hour ago. Whoopi Goldberg. Why is Whoopi Goldberg trending so high? Whoopi Goldberg panics as co-hosts shame her for ending. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that. I don't care. I can't be Jennifer Aniston. Brad Pitt, Jennifer Aniston's wedding. They didn't get married, did they? They didn't get married. They were together. Whoa. What was that? Wait. Huh? Or did they get married? Did they? Brad and Jen get married? How did that work out? It was Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt was with Gwyneth Paltrow. That was big. They were like the dream couple. They were Hollywood's young, beautiful couple. And then didn't Brad Pitt leave Gwyneth Paltrow for Jennifer Aniston? And then didn't Brad Pitt leave Jennifer Aniston for Angelina Jolie? And then didn't Brad Pitt leave Angelina Jolie for Leonardo DiCaprio? I don't know. God. Look, we all know that Gwyneth Paltrow's kind of a weirdo. She's kind of a weirdo. But man, I think she's sexy. I think not sexy. Sexy is the wrong word. Sexy is totally the wrong word. Elegant. That's the word, man. Gwyneth Paltrow is elegant. It's like I look at her and I'm like, look at this. She's like a swan. She's like tall and thin. She's got like she's blonde hair, blue eyes. She's not off-puttingly attractive. And by off-puttingly attractive, what I mean is someone that you look at and you're like, oh God, she's so hot. I can't even look at her. No, she's like soothingly, elegantly beautiful. So then how are you going to like, you got that. And by the way, we're not talking about her now. Go watch any of the Iron Man movies. You don't think Pepper Potts is hot? Pepper Potts is like really hot in her like stark executive business suits. Gwyneth Paltrow's hot, man. But then like Brad Pitt had her. And by the way, we're not talking 2023 Gwyneth Paltrow. We're talking 1996 Gwyneth Paltrow. Like just beautiful, young California blonde. I mean, she's not a California blonde. She's like an Upper West Side of New York blonde. Her mom is Blythe Danner, who's like a really famous movie actress in her own right. Her dad is Bruce Paltrow, the creator of St. Elsewhere. She ain't a California surf blonde, but you know, she kind of had that thing. So then, but then he traded her in that era for Jennifer Aniston, who was in that era Rachel from Friends, who, my God, I got to imagine that's a trade up, right? I think in the moment, in like 1997, isn't that around when this happened? Because I seem to remember covering this on the Q101 morning show. It was a big deal on Q101, station in Chicago I worked at. And I seem to think that this was probably about 1997. So in 1997, Brad Pitt, moving on from Gwyneth Paltrow, who was like America's young Gen X, not Gen X, millennial? No, whatever. I don't know. But she was a thing. She's a big thing. She was an icon to a younger generation of girl. What was that movie? Wasn't it? There was some movie where they called everybody Gwyneths after Gwyneth Paltrow. She just thinks she's such a Gwyneth. Anyway, so she was iconic in her own right. And I don't know if she had already won the Oscar for Shakespeare in Love. I don't know. Anyway, he then went for the hottest TV star in America. And by hottest, I mean that twofold. I mean, and I mean, I got to work with Jen Aniston, right? She was hot. So is that an upgrade? Yeah. And then, you know, he goes, and then Jen Aniston, he rides that into the dirt. And then it's Angelina Jolie time. And wait a second. Okay, what's the order here? Oh, this is the order. He traded. Okay, so now is this a trade up? Gentlemen, this is really just one for the guys. Guys, come on in. Get in the chat room. I got a question for you. Is it a trade up or a trade down if you go from Jennifer Aniston? And Jennifer Aniston's a gorgeous woman. She was still in her prime. She's still Jennifer Aniston. She didn't stop being Jennifer Aniston after Friends went off the air. She had a film career. She's Jennifer Aniston. Okay, so is it a trade up or a trade down to go from Jennifer Aniston to Angelina Jolie? But it's Angelina Jolie with Billy Bob Thornton stink all over her. Is that a trade up or a trade down? Because Brad Pitt didn't seem to mind. Brad Pitt was like, do you know the greatest Brad Pitt story? Why are we talking about Brad Pitt? Oh, because Jen Aniston and Brad Pitt are trending for some reason. You know what the greatest Brad Pitt story is? Do you know the story about Brad Pitt and Mike Tyson? Did you guys ever hear the story? This is like, you can Google it. I mean, it's definitely a real story, and people are now openly talking about it. Mike Tyson, in fact, talks about it all the time now. Brad Pitt. Who was that chick from Head of the Class? Robin Givens. No, is Robin Givens? Is that her? Yeah, whatever. Remember the chick from Head of the Class that he was married to? Robin. I think it's Robin Givens. I think that's her. Okay, so Robin Givens was having an affair while she was married to Mike Tyson. She was banging this like unknown young blonde Hollywood actor. And so Mike Tyson knew that she was having an affair. He knew that she was running around with somebody. So Mike Tyson set her up to get caught. Mike Tyson was believed to have been out of town. And then he had his people say, yeah, there's some guy that just went over to the house. So Mike Tyson bursted into the bedroom and caught Brad Pitt. That's right. An unknown, not famous yet Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt. See, you think Brad Pitt, he's a pretty boy and life must be great. No, you know what happens when you're Brad Pitt level pretty? You sometimes find yourself in that situation with Mike Tyson. And that is not a situation I think anybody wants to be in with Mike Tyson. He got away. He obviously didn't get his ass kicked. He got away. I don't know that Brad Pitt has ever acknowledged that story. I know that Mike Tyson, well, you know, here, let's just look it up. Let's just go ahead and look it up. Ross says they were in the midst of divorce. He caught him leaving the house, not in bed. There you go. Look at him throwing cold water on him, making a story bad. Hey, way to make the story bad, Ross Rubio. It's not like this is an entertainment show or anything. No, you're right. He also says, I think Jolie was a trade down by far. By far? You're nuts. You are nuts. Angelina Jolie, round about that time, she was well, I guess this, again, it's all subjective, but in my opinion, she was like the sexiest movie star in the world. Jen Aniston was cute for TV. Jen Aniston was hot for TV. Angelina Jolie was like, she was teetering on like Sophia Loren type territory. That's a whole different game. But she had Billy Bob Thornton stink on her. See, that's where Billy Bob Thornton is gross. And I love Goliath. Don't get me wrong. That's the other thing. I'm watching Goliath. Billy Bob Thornton's Amazon Prime series where he plays an attorney. What? I don't see it. I don't get it. Women, now I need you women. Women, come back. I know that I asked for the guys when we were talking about whether or not it was a trade up or a trade down between Jen Aniston and Angelina Jolie. I need the women back. Okay, women, come on back. Is Billy Bob Thornton sexy? Why in Goliath is he always hooking up with like really hot women, like really hot younger women, and they're all acting like, oh, you're so sexy? Is Billy Bob Thornton sexy? Angelina Jolie, I mean, although here's the X factor there. Angelina Jolie's a weirdo. She's always been a weirdo. We know she's a weirdo. Do you remember the stories about her and Billy Bob Thornton going around with vials of their own blood around their necks, and then they had a room. They had an entire Billy Bob Thornton and Angelina Jolie had a room in their mansion that was a trampoline room with Velcro walls. I'm kidding. How awesome is this? So they had Velcro suits made like on David Letterman. Remember on David Letterman where he'd jump and stick on the walls? They had an entire room. Like normal people it might be the dining room or something, but they turned this entire room into trampoline floors where they'd put on Velcro suits, and then they'd go and they'd stick themselves on the wall and then try and peel themselves. So they're weird, right? So Angelina Jolie's weird. So I don't know that Angelina Jolie, a known weirdo, saying that, being with Billy Bob Thornton, a guy who looks wise, you would never think they're compatible, but yet she's with him, but she's weird. So I don't know. Billy Bob Thornton hot. No, none of the women wanted to chime in. Well, I think nothing says that we're done quite like that. All right, we're out of show. That's it. Nobody wants to play around with my stupid. All I wanted to know was, is Billy Bob Thornton hot? I'm a straight guy. I don't see it. I gotta be honest. I don't think there's anything to see. Hey, that's not supposed to happen. Sorry. My big dumb fat fingers. No, thank you, Frankie. There ain't nothing wrong with. That ain't our closing theme. There you go. Ross says, see, you're proving my case. Jolie sucks. I've got my poetry. I don't think I said anything about her sucking. I said she's weird, and that I don't know that her taste in a romantic partner is necessarily like a normal woman's taste, which kind of confuses the metric on whether or not Billy Bob Thornton's hot or not, because she might like dig guys with like scars and burn, you know what I mean? She might just be like, I don't like normal looking guys. So whatever, so that would make her weird, and she's weird. But I don't know. I don't think that proves your point. I don't know. But go ahead, do your end zone dance, Ross. You got it, kid. Stretch it. Did you not, Ross? Do you not remember like late '90s Angelina Jolie? I mean, you're younger than me, but you're not that young. I mean, anyway, I don't see it. I don't think it's a competition, attractive-wise, between Angelina Jolie and Jen Aniston. They're both 10s, but I don't think it's really close. I think Angelina Jolie is far more beautiful than Jen Aniston. All right, bye. Adios, Byron. Bye, you guys. Ross, let's look at it this way. Should you and I ever find ourselves in a situation where it's just you and me and Angelina and Jen, we're going to get along just fine. I can smile a little now. Things are going good. Yeah. Yeah, he's making a good point. You can't say, I remember her from Girl Interrupted, where she played this powerful Oscar-winning performance as a mental patient. You can't, that's not the Angelina Jolie movie. Have you ever seen that movie where she played Gia? Have you ever seen Gia? Good Lord, man. Have you ever seen Lara Croft? God, good Lord, man. I always had to be on guard. That is understood. Frank's like, Jen looks good. Of course she does. She's Jen Anderson. She's a 10. If yours goes to 11, she's an 11. Nobody is the point is this. Angelina Jolie's just hotter. It has been a journey, a multi-answer test. Although I gotta tell you, Jennifer Aniston, oh, God love her. Jennifer Aniston used to wear outfits on Friends that were so hot. She used to wear the hottest outfits on Friends. Like, I particularly liked when she wore knee-high socks, because that always meant that she was wearing like really like Daisy Dukes almost. Well, she would never wear Daisy Dukes, but like a really short skirt or something. God, you got me thinking about Jen Aniston like around 1997. Wow. You know what? I'm enjoying this conversation. So go. That's interesting. So first of all, what are the age differences between Jen Aniston? Oh, the voice search has been turned off. For crying out loud. Oh, but this one over here hasn't. So let's do this. Okay, so let me just ask, how old is Jennifer Aniston? All right, Jennifer Aniston is 54 years old.
Wikipedia, Jennifer Joanna Aniston is an American actress and producer.
All right, hold on. How old is Angelina Jolie? 48. Okay, so
according to Wikipedia, Angelina Jolie is an American actress, filmmaker, and humanitarian.
All right. So Angelina Jolie is a good what? 6 years? So yeah, 4, 5, 6 years younger than Jennifer Aniston. All right, let's see. Hold on. Let's see them side by side. There we go. Okay. All right. I am on a never-ending. All right, let's go through some of these pictures. Okay, so here's look, Jen Aniston is 54 years old and she still looks good. I watch her in that morning show that she does. So she's a beautiful woman. All right, there's Angelina Jolie and Brad. There's Brad. There's Angelina Jolie. Angelina Jolie's got bad tattoos. That is another, but man, something sexy about her. All right, there's Jen. She looks good. There's Jen and Brad. Look at them. They're so happy. Look at that couple. Okay. So you know what? Here you go. This is Jen Aniston. Definitely a type. Angelina Jolie, more exotic. There's Angelina Jolie. Look at her, man. Look at Angelina Jolie in that white dress. Come on, man. Holy shit. All right, I don't know that they're saying this, but that is Angelina Jolie on the left there. Oh, we're not seeing it. Here we go. I'm sorry, guys. I suck. All right. So here, this is interesting. So on the left there, that is that's Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt's kid. I'm just going to call him a kid because I'm not entirely sure if it's a boy or a girl. Here's what I know. Tell me that doesn't look exactly like Brad Pitt. Look at that kid. Look at Brad Pitt. That kid looks exactly like Brad Pitt. There's something complicated. There's something going on with that kid. Is this the kid now? Now it's a girl. It's a girl. It's a girl. That's fine. Yeah, I think it is a girl. But it looks just like, the problem is that it had a short haircut and it looks exactly like its father, and we live in the, look at those two. That's a good-looking young Hollywood couple, isn't it? Look at them. And there you go. Yeah, you know what? I still look at that guy. What's going on here? Hey, Jen Aniston signed up to date Brad Pitt. Not a dude from the Allman Brothers. Look at him. That's who she signed up. This is the first date with Brad Pitt. Last date with Brad Pitt. This is what she signed up for. Not that. Not he looks like over here was an unfrozen caveman lawyer. That's right. An old school Saturday Night Live reference. All right, here you go. This is a good one. Here's the two of them together. Nope. Let's make it this way. All right. Look, there is no wrong choice. They're both incredibly beautiful women. And this looks to be them, Ross Rubio. This looks to be them in relatively recent times. I don't know. I think Angelina Jolie I think she still wins. Anyway, there you go. And she's younger. She's like 6 years younger. So I don't know if that's important to you, but it might be to some people. But what were we doing? Oh, yeah. The best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. I have found a different way, so baffling to some. Oh, my God. Okay. All right. Wow. Holy, well, should you expect anything different? So I clicked on, I got a bunch of these pictures of their kid, because isn't that an interest? Like, I'm always interested to see, I want to see what Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes' daughter, Suri, grows into. And I don't know if you've seen Suri Cruise, the daughter of Katie Holmes, legendarily adorable, and Tom Cruise, like Hollywood icon, male sex symbol. So I was interested in what Suri Cruise is going off to college. Have you seen her? My God. She looks like a better looking Katie Holmes. That's right. I said it. Like, imagine if Katie Holmes also had like Tom Cruise DNA. so that's pretty good. And she's doing pretty good. But let me show you this one here. Let me show you. Let's look at some Shiloh Jolie Pitt. Hold on, let me pull up these pictures. Because remember in the first pic where I was like, man, that looks like Brad Pitt. All right, watch this. Here we go. This is young Shiloh Jolie Pitt. This is a little girl, just so we're all straight. Just so we all know. I think. I don't know. Yes, it is. I think. I don't know. Is it? Yeah, it's a girl. This is a little girl. This is I'm going to be showing you the daughter of Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Okay. So let's look here. There you go. This is the picture that we saw. This is the daughter of Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. I mean, you can see why I was like, I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. Because got the short haircut and looks exactly like Brad Pitt. So there you go. Kid's going to grow up to be good. Hey, what is this back here? Look at this face back here. Do you guys see that face back there? What's happening back there? That face has serious Jolie Pitt energy. That looks like a mashup of both of them. All right, let's keep going. All right, so we're looking at pictures of Shiloh Jolie Pitt. This is young. This is years ago. This is like 10 years ago. Because I just caught a picture of her more recently, and I'm like, that looks like Brad Pitt. But now I'm seeing a whole lot of Angelina Jolie. And in this particular picture, and maybe she's making a face, it looks like the seriously top shelf DNA of Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie have created a goof bomb, because I don't know, maybe she's just making a goofy face. But that is like when everything is perfect and they start to rebel against each other, the genetics. They're like, nope, we're gonna be weird now. That's a little, I guess she's a little girl who kind of looked like a little Brad Pitt for a lot of times. Whatever, that's fine. All right, now I don't know what that is. That looks like a middle school boy. That looks like my son. Is this a boy or a girl? I know we did this. We talked about this before, and I'm confused. I was confused then. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, she's just, she's kind of having fun with fire. The point is, I'm trying to say man, this person is going to be a gorgeous human. I don't know what they're going to grow into. I think they're going to be a gorgeous human. See, that looks like. Okay, these are all little. These are all little when they look like, show me, come on, show me more. There's like modern pictures. I see one of them and she's very different looking. All right, never mind. I'm going to be done with this. There it is. There's like a more. Okay, so these are the pictures I was looking at. See, now she's starting to look like Angelina Jolie. Now she's starting. I mean, that's a beautiful young woman right there. Look at that. Look at those cheekbones. Jeez Louise. That smile. Got the Brad Pitt smile. Look at the little Brad Pitt baby. Okay. All right. So on the right there, definitely that's more of like a feminine outfit. All right. Apparently not as many modern pictures as I thought. No, there you go. There's a side by side. So whatever this is, whatever it is on the right, obviously she's older, so it's more closer to the now. Looks like she's undeniably a girl, as opposed to when she was younger, where it was confusing because she had a short haircut like a boy and looked exactly like her father. So you can forgive people for going, I hope that they weren't like I hope that like if they ran into people like back then, and I guess, when you're Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, you don't run into people. You've got a phalanx of security. But like, did anybody ever go like, oh, hi, little boy? Like, and I hope they weren't like, how dare you? This is my dog. Because anybody that would see those pictures and go, hi, little boy. First of all, don't say hi to strange little boys. That's rule 1. This was a bad example. I probably shouldn't have front loaded with that. Don't say hi to strange little boys. But if you did, you could be excused. I think you could be excused, and you wouldn't be like, oh, horrible. Why do you hate people of different? I don't hate anybody. I just saw the little, the tiny little Brad Pitt looking thing, and maybe it's because he's wearing a business suit. He's like a little kid in a business suit and looking like Brad Pitt. Forgive me. I didn't know it was a little girl. Well, what a beautiful little girl. And then you move on, and that's life. Oh, let's look at Suri Cruise, right? While we're doing this, let's see Suri Cruise. Because I remember I just saw like a quick picture of her, and I thought, oh my God, those genetics. Because again, sometimes good genetics go a little haywire. I'll give you an example. We all know who Patrick Swayze is, right? Patrick Swayze, you just ask any lady. Ladies love Patrick Swayze. Patrick Swayze was a handsome man. Patrick Swayze. Have you ever seen his brother Don? You ever seen Don Swayze? Don Swayze and Patrick Swayze standing next to each other. There is no doubt they're brothers. You're like, oh my God, you guys are brothers. Don Swayze is hideous. Don Swayze has all the same things, the Patrick Swayze eyes. You got all of that same stuff in the chin and all. It's just slightly different. And it's that slight difference that goes from Hollywood leading man to like just big, giant, gangly, goofy guy. Anyway, okay, here's Suri Cruise. Suri Cruise, 2023. Let's look at some of these pictures. Oh my God, look at her. All right, now let's try and figure out, who does Suri Cruise look more like? Because if we're being honest, right, her mom and dad look very similar. Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes look very similar. In fact, there's crazy Scientology story out there that Katie Holmes was chosen because Tom Cruise wanted to create a child that was almost exactly like him. And that's why Katie Holmes was chosen. All right, so let's look at some pictures of Suri Cruise. This is Katie Holmes and Tom Cruise's daughter. This is Suri Cruise 2023. So this is now. Oh my God. Holy cow. She looks like Tom Cruise. Doesn't she look like Tom Cruise? I mean, she also looks like Katie Holmes, because Katie Holmes looked like Tom Cruise. Look at that. Yeah, there she is. She's in, I guess, where is she? She's walking around New York City. She's like college age now. She's like going off to college. So look at her little high school student. She is adorable. And that's mom. Look at, there's Katie and there's little Suri. Remember what a beautiful little baby she was? Remember how she was just like the world's most beautiful little baby? Yeah, Suri Cruise, man. She's going to be something. Look at, oh, that's a pretty little girl, man. That little girl probably got this girl. Oh, is this her? Like a bunch of, Holy shit. She has Tom Cruise's face. And that's not a bad thing. That is not a bad thing to have Tom Cruise's face. She has a feminine Tom Cruise face. Everything else is her mom, Katie Holmes, which is fine because Katie Holmes is fine. She's cute. Okay, good for her. She turned out well. All right, now the last one that I'll do for you. Let's go ahead and bring up Patrick and Don Swayze, huh? Let's see these two goofy. Because, like, one, they're brothers, and one's, like, real good looking, and the other is, ugh. All right. There you go. Okay, let's see if we get some side-by-sides here. Okay. This is my favorite. Like, I'd be so mad if I was Don Swayze. I'd be like, what the hell, man? We look exactly the same, and yet you're attractive, and I'm, like, weird. All right, here you go. So here are some side-by-sides of Patrick and his brother Don Swayze. Boom. There's, of course, Patrick on the right. And there's weird. What's going on with Don Swayze's like, I don't know. It's like the same face, but it's like a shrinky dink that was left in just a couple minutes too long. Nobody knows what shrinky dinks are. There you go. Patrick and Don Swayze. Look at how does it happen? Because they are obviously brothers. They look incredibly similar. Look at Don Swayze's face. Here's what it is. Patrick got a little bit more length in the face. That's what it is. I just figured it out. Don Swayze's face is too small for these Swayze features. See how small it is? And the chin on Don Swayze seems to protrude outward, whereas the chin on Patrick's face seems to go down more, creating a longer effect, which means he doesn't look like a shrinky dink like this guy. Look at these two. These two out on the town with their bad haircuts. I'm sure they had a good time. All right, there you go. That concludes our my dissertation on genetics and all that good stuff. I think I was in the middle of something. I forgot what it was in the middle of. Oh, yeah, the closing theme. I'll remind you again. Tip the show if you can. That'd be great. Thank you. Appreciate you. We need your support. See you tonight. See you tonight at 9 o'clock. I got to get out of here. It's 3 o'clock. Okay. Bye. Love you guys. See you tonight at 9 o'clock for the Radio Misfits. Myself, James Parker, and E on the Radio Misfits podcast and live streaming platform.
Tomorrow is another day. The best is yet to come. I have found a different way, so baffling to some. I can smile a little now. Things are going good. I always had to be on guard, that is understood. Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest. I am on a never-ending quest.